but I don't think they're gonna like target people. I don't think of it 100%. I don't think, but there might be some people getting like wounded or killed, and that's my only concern. But I don't blame Israel for this. I blame fucking mullahs for it.
There you go. That's all I want to know. You see, Mo? He knows who to blame.
Because because even Trump wanted to fucking negotiate with them. The Trump who was swearing, I'm gonna fuck you all up when I come to power. He wanted to make a deal with them. And we were angry of it because we knew if they make a deal, if they get the money, they're not gonna spend it on us. Right? They're gonna spend it on themselves, their fucking children, like having luxurious lives in Spain and even in America. And they're not going. Our lives won't improve a bit. So even with this situation, they didn't like make a deal with Trump. Trump like said zero enrichment. Now they have zero enrichment. Their nuclear facilities have been targeted. Was it worth it? You could have lifted all the sanctions like Trump did to Syria.
What's the? Have you gone out to the street today? Eh?
What?
Have you been to the street today?
No, I don't need to. I'm not in the capital, but
I don't care if you're in the capital. I'm asking you if you have been to the street today. Have you been?
No, I haven't.
Okay, no, because I want to know like what's the vibe? Like, are the people just scared, or are the people kind of like hopeful, or are the people just like running away and trying to leave?
I'm talking to my relatives. Yeah, I'm talking to my relatives in the phone because we call each other to see if they're okay, and they're all kind of happy because of this. They're dead, but they're worried. They're very worried. What's going to happen next? What will be like the consequences of this? Like the people, they're worried about that, but they're happy that our generals are dead, but they're worried. That's what I can tell you because I talk to my relatives and we're checking to each other, seeing if they're okay and stuff. Yeah, that's the situation here. People are like right now confused, the way I'm saying, and
It's not so clear, Simon.
I can say they're happy or they're sad, but they're worried right now.
That seems very reasonable. That seems like a reasonable response.
Yeah, obviously.
What's not clear?
I'm joking. I'm saying that they're, some of them are worried, almost as if like, oh shit, well, if this goes on forever, not forever, but at some point they, they might not be so happy. But if it's,
Well, also, everyone wonders what happens then in the vacuum that's left. I mean, that's,
No, we're not worried about that. We're
Well,
worried that this regime will... No, we're not worried about it.
well, I think most people probably are, I would say. But so what comes after that, not just in terms of leadership, but if it's prolonged, there's infrastructure and systems, and there's a lot of things that people in war-torn places worry about, and I would imagine that's part of the concern. What comes after this?
Yeah, people are concerned about the infrastructures, but they're not worried about what I was trying to say. They're not worried about who will come after this. We just want this. Look, this regime has done lots of fucked up things.
Yeah.
that people don't care who will come after them.
So bad that
People just want them to be gone, but yeah, people are worried about what's gonna be the consequence of this situation. They're worried, but I've seen some videos. People are in the capital. People are in some areas. They're on the street and they're shouting down with dictator. And I think if this situation will continue for 1 week, that might make this regime fall. People will come to the street. If this is be like a continuous thing, not one-time thing or two-time thing, they come here, bomb, gone. No, not like that. It will be continuous every day, like few places. If it's like that, I think people will come to the street.
Saying 2 weeks, right? That's not what it's going to be a 2-week campaign. Anyways, Elle, are you still mad at me, Boo Boo? Am I still a lazy millennial?
No.
Who are you talking to?
No, you're not. I was referring to, and also, not all millennials are lazy, obviously. But this whole, what started me off was I heard yesterday this TikTok of this dumb bitch. She was like, "That's my grand."
Yeah. Nobody cares about the millennials.
Why are you calling her a dumb bitch? Who are you to call her a dumb bitch when you're a female? You come from the same equipment.
I'm gonna kick this bitch.
What are you talking about? Listen,
And now you kick your ass.
okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. No, I was listening to this dumb bitch, millennial, was like, "Where are our grandparents helping with the children? They got help. We don't get help. They tell us raise your own kids." It's complaining that the grandparents are helping to raise her kids. And guess what? We're still working, ding dong. Your boomer,
Yeah,
your
you're
next
black.
parent.
I'm gonna kick this bitch.
Stop everyone, and I'm gonna kick out of stage anyone that's not talking about.
Let's not kick
Because I'm
anything
talking
out.
about the millennials right now, and I don't want to talk about it. That's why
Oh
you.
my god.
That's good.
Wow.
Yeah, this isn't about Israel and everyone. This is about Israel.
Anyway,
Yeah.
hey Daniel.
What you get for letting millennials like Lou come to
Who
stage?
cares about the millennials right now?
He ruined everything. Fucking look.
Yeah,
So
but
you
let's
think
go.
they're there,
Challenges right now. We're the one freaking saying
Okay, here's a question. Would it make sense to send all of the millennials to Iran to be,
No, I will send them to Gaza. Anyway,
Oh my god.
Definitely not.
Why do you hate millennials so much?
I don't. I am one. Daniel, do you have any updates? Honey.
The strikes are continuing now. There are talks with leaders, and we get support from different leaders around the world so far. And Tehran has to convene the UN Security Council regarding the Israeli attacks today, I think, in the UN. That's it for now.
Now to the weather.
Really?
Yes.
Now to the weather.
And then sport. Stay.
Is that a bit like your t-shirt was cleaned by your mom?
Is it true about the 70-something killed already, but not
No, I
all of
think-
them?
I think more. I think 80. Hold on, I have that number.
And they dropped 300
But
bodies.
these are also civilians, right?
I don't know.
Who cares?
Should have fucking.
Who is this one?
It's not people that are uninvolved because it's
How did you get here, Swat? How did you end up in this room, Swat?
What do you mean? How did I end up in this room? The room is called Conversation. Clubhouse is a whole room, you know.
No.
Everybody can be in the room.
This is
Yeah, but it is when you got lost.
Like, what, did I get lost in finding you? I was never ever lost.
Is this question?
I've always found.
She's not
It is not Daniel, it's another one. Swat ends up in my room alone.
Free Palestine.
Oh, Swat is in your room alone.
Have you chanted free Palestine before?
I like
Why?
John's. We gotta get
Why?
John
Why
to
do I have to?
say
Anyone
Why
can.
do I?
Palestine.
Did I say free Africa?
Free.
Did I say free?
John doesn't.
He would literally just run around and just cold sock anyone.
I think that's the sociopath you talking about.
Damn, they kicked me.
And men not like to be rejected. Now, you know who can't take rejection? Women. Y'all. Like, no, if somebody says something you don't like, you shouldn't just haul off and hit them.
Wait.
Women are known to do that shit.
Wait, so you're...
Yes. And I'm sure, I know on the news in Philly, it went left, so.
Atlanta said, we just letting y'all know we is not Cali. We will charge your ass with domestic terrorists.
I have, a daughter who's, is becoming a rabbi at a prominent rabbinical school. And, and another daughter took 4 years in Arabic. And so, I lived in the old city of Jerusalem myself. I mean, it's just, Golda Meir, I always say it not exactly right. She had the best quote. She said, we can forgive them for killing our kids, the soldiers, but we can't forgive them for making us kill theirs. And that's what's happening now. This war didn't have to happen. And, the elections too. You can't pin that on us. All right, I'll see you.
What's that? Is it okay if I just... I think what we're going to do is do this, moving forward, is if someone mentions your name and they're responding directly to a quote, you have first right to respond. There's up to 2 back and forths, so make sure you get your point in the 2 back and forths, and then we go to whoever raises their hand, but we go in order of the stage.
And I'd love to hear you on whoever.
Yeah, so you can go, and then I'll go next. Or Ariel can respond. You have 2 back and forths, and then.
When I look at things from the Israeli lens, there are many assets of elements that are, I believe that they would be justified in defending themselves. I understand the history of the Holocaust, the legacy that it left, and the Jewish people's, the PTSD that gives, right? And that trauma that follows, right? And I respect that. I understand that, given the history of how the Jews are treated historically, that they have the right to, for example, build up an army defend themselves. But even still, when I look at it from the Israeli lens, when I say if I was a Jew and I was there would be many points of contention where I would say, well, yes, I understand that the Gazans, there's been historic animosity, but there will be many points of contention. I think it'll be undeniable. I think, again, Israel's not a monolith, so despite the perspective you've given, which is a valid one, I understand it, and you haven't said anything wrong, I think there will equally be Israelis that could stand here and, without even addressing the Gazans themselves, just the ways that the Israelis have decided to conduct themselves, there will be many points of contention. So I think that should be something that needs to be looked at. I don't want to talk about the Gazans because I think they're not being fairly representative, and that's my opinion, because they haven't had an election. And so any time even if you say indoctrination or they are being restricted in their free speech or they cannot stand, all of those things makes me think that we need to hear more of the Gazan voices, not less of them. Does that make sense? Because it's almost like, well, those are suppressed voices, then we need to hear them more. We're not hearing them at all. And so it's dangerous to group them with Hamas, because what legacy does that leave? And that's what I wonder. Do you know what I mean? People tend to say if you're critical of Israel, you're anti-Semitic. I don't agree with that. I don't believe, because I have Jewish friends that are critical of Israel. They simply cannot be anti-Semitic. And so I think it's a function of democracy to be able to criticize the government, not the people. The people are separate. The same with the Gaza people are separate. It's the entities that govern that we are, as democracies, entitled to, and we're obliged to, and we should criticize. And I think they deserve criticism, and that's my opinion. Maybe
I want to respond to you and let you know that before you joined, when it was just Gabe and I and Ariel, Ariel came a little bit late because he was having some issues. we were spending all the time criticizing Bibi and discussing him in criticism. Okay? Because, yes, there's criticism to be had, and we're able to have that in a free way. But if you look from the Hamas side, it's very hard for criticism of Hamas to come out. If you protest Hamas in those areas, you are murdered, killed, tortured, your body thrown in front of your family. And I was talking a lot of pro-Palestinian rules because I agree with you so much that we need more Gazan voices, not less. And I think most people will agree with most of the points. The problem is that you put Israel on a pedestal of their government is failing, but Hamas government, oh, that doesn't matter. But if you look at Iran, the same thing happened there, and they have a way bigger country, right? So you may wonder, wait, why aren't Palestinians allowed into Egypt? Why aren't they allowed to Jordan? I've traveled to those places and spoke to people about it, and the reason why is that the Muslim Brotherhood is banned there, including in Saudi Arabia as well, is because when these radicals come in, they try to overthrow the government. What we need to remember as well is that the land that was supposed to be given to Israel was supposed to be a lot bigger, but they kept on making it smaller and smaller and smaller. And Israel kept on saying, okay, whatever. So a lot of Jordanians are technically Palestinians, which was the British mandate of Palestine. It wasn't a country, there was no president, there was nothing like that. It was literally the British and the French and, all those people. So when they gave this land and tried to do so in a peaceful way, a lot of bad things happened, great, but at the end of the day, not great, terrible, but at the end of the day, Israel got control. Saudi Arabia sort of allowed this because they're like, listen, we're going to come in, just attack them, and we'll just wipe them out, and they'll be fine. That was the 6-Day War. After the 6-Day War, Israel showed incredible might. I don't believe in miracles. I don't believe in that type of stuff per se, but I studied this war, and it is insane what they were able to do. 10 tanks to 1 tank in Israel, and Israel was able to take out those tanks. It was supposed to be a massacre, and Israel somehow survived, was able to secure more land. And what was the first thing they did? Gave that land back and created peace deals with anyone who wanted the peace deals. And those
took the flag down.
What's that?
And took down the flag.
What
took down our flag, meaning they originally, because they got so much land that they didn't expect to have, they didn't know, they weren't prepared. So they folded our excited, they throw the flag up. Moshe Dayan says, no, we're not claiming this land. The total amount.
So
because it was so
but that's a mute point. I hear you, but it doesn't. Yeah, it's extra to it, but yes, the point is though that they tried to go to peace, and each time, as Ariel said the last time, he's like, oh, each time they make a peace deal, they go for the last one. Yeah, that's how peace deals work. You don't get to not make peace and then want something to the back one, where the back one we were going to give you, but now you've proven you can't handle that one. And when people say, oh, what about those people who are moving into those different areas? Yeah, that's not good. Nobody really likes that. But why should the Israeli government go and do something about that if they're not making real pushes to peace? Israel has proven that if they just live their life, they can be successful. When they've proven that when they give the Palestinians this area, bad things happen. And that's why the other governments around them don't want them in there. So what is the solution? I know I'm not trying to villainize the people, and of course I'm going to let you speak, but it's more from an historic place, because I agree so much so, and I think I'm very glad that you downvoted me so I could be more clear with my talk. We never want to generalize a people, ever. We do want to generalize a government and ideology. The question is, how do you differentiate that? I have no idea. But apparently the countries around are scared of that because that ideology can stick. If you go to Jordan, for example, there's pictures of the king everywhere. And I'm like, oh, wow, you must love your king. And they're like, no, we put the photos of the king up is because we know that if groups try to come in and create protests, or they're going to try to create problems, and usually it's these Palestinian groups, they will start defacing these photos, and then we can send in our people to stop them. And I'm like, that is a very interesting thing to say. Why do you not like Palestinians? I'm talking to a Jordanian, and he's like, no, it's not that we don't like Palestinians, it's just people of their ideology keep on creating problems with the king, and obviously have problems with rulerships, but yeah, it's just, if you really look at it with real nuisance,
I probably see them as a lower class.
they don't see them as lower class. They don't see them as lower class.
Yeah,
Classism is...
because they know that if they let them in, they know that all they're going to do is want to cause trouble. Because wherever they
No,
go,
it's not that they think this. It has been proven through history.
They know this. Not they think, they know it.
Shut up, Pikachu.
They look at them like that.
It actually knew as Pikachu's turn, and then you can go next.
And that's why they have this animosity against them. Because everywhere they've gone, they cause trouble. What do they do when Jordan let them in? What do they do to Jordan? That's why the Jordanians don't want them. Same thing in Egypt. Same thing in Lebanon. Wherever they've gone, they've caused problems.
Also Kuwait.
And Kuwait. Exactly.
I'm just gonna reset the room.
For me to respond to him.
I'm just gonna reset the room one more time, alright? This is a respectful conversation. Everybody's being respectful to each other so far. We're not gonna do personal attacks towards anyone, and we're not going to, try to be confrontational at all. If you want to speak, just raise your hand and we'll go in order of those people. If you want to respond to someone directly, just mention their name. You can go back and forth 2 times. Yeah, that's basically the rules. Did I miss anything, Ariel?
Yeah, so we're finishing off with the people that I mentioned, and then we're going to just try.
But can I just make one point?
Yeah,
okay. May I ask you if it's okay to mute up because it's huge background?
I'm sorry.
Great to see you, man, and I'm glad you're in Jerusalem. I was just there.
I'm not in Jerusalem. I'll reach out. I'm in Hollywood, Florida.
Okay, I can't hear you, but it's too loud back there. But let me know. I just texted you. So here's what is it okay if you mute? Okay, who was unmuted? All right, is that John? No, who was unmuted?
It's almost
What? Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I didn't even see that. Okay. So I just want to make one point. We just heard a straw man that criticizing Israel is not anti-Semitism, and it's a well-worn fake argument or straw man. Nobody ever said that criticizing Israel is anti-Semitism. As I think it was Ariel pointed out, we were just in here criticizing Bibi Netanyahu a little while ago. Israel criticizes Israel. Now, in other communities, there's a name for somebody of that community who undermines a person. It's a not nice name. It rhymes with oon. I don't say that word. I grew up not saying that word. There are some Jews who are actively opposing the Jewish people and the land of Israel, which are one. Should be made clear. The Jewish people and the land of Israel are one. But we actually spent 3 years with the International Holocaust Remembrance Committee to explain to people how to know when criticizing Israel is anti-Semitism. Often it is, but not always. If you're holding Israel to a double standard, which these criticisms usually do, if you are delegitimizing Israel, which there's one room in particular on this app which does it all day and all night, or if you are demonizing Israel, it's known as the 3 Ds: double standard, demonizing, delegitimizing. That's the way you know if you are anti-Semitic or merely criticizing the politics of a country. People in Israel criticizing Bibi or criticizing the government, they never say Israel shouldn't exist. But many people you will hear say, I'm anti-Zionist. Zionism is our right to self-determination in our homeland, which we have longed for since our very beginning, since Abraham. So if you're anti-Zionist, yes, then you are anti-Semitic. If you criticize Israel, no, not necessarily. I mean, you could say we want Bibi to be more aggressive or less aggressive, or maybe he should get out, maybe he's corrupt. Those are all fair criticism. But if you say Israel should not exist, then yes, of course you're an anti-Semite. Let me land it there. Thank you for the chance.
Alright, I just want to point out further on here that a lot of people have been using Zionism as a way to hide a Jew, like the person in this room beforehand was clearly anti-Semite, and he kept on, when he got angry, he just switched it to Jew. So, I mean, it's easy to figure out if you're being anti-Semitic, and if you're grouping everyone together, that's anti-Semitic. Semitism. Nuha, you can go, because you're next, and then Aziz, and then John and Rodi.
Yeah, no, just to keep it moving. I'm actually interested. So, what would a normal make of Jews who are anti-Zionist? I know a couple from Discord, like Orthodox Jews, who, they identify as anti-Zionist.
So, are you actually just for 1 second? When you ask a question like that, you have to ask a specific person. You have 2 back and forths with.
Yeah, for a normal.
Yeah.
Does he make the claim that anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic?
I don't make the claim. I'm teaching you. It's not a claim.
Are these Jews anti-Semitic?
Also, El Normo, comments like that, comments like that are not appropriate. Do not correct and say I'm teaching or something like that. Try to answer the question. Try to be as kind and unconfrontational as possible. That's a first warning.
it's okay. It's El Normo.
I just want to make sure that
I stand
keep a respect for the conversation.
Let's move on. I stand
it's not helpful to getting through a point, and it's not actually doing anything. So
yeah, no, I just wanted him to clarify this because
I'll do it, Nuha. I get it. So there's a tremendous misunderstanding about Orthodox Jews. Of course, Orthodox Jews love Israel. Of course, Orthodox Jews live in Israel. There are a major portion of the Orthodox Jewish community lives in Israel and loves Israel. Now, if you are a very Orthodox Jew, you may have the belief that Israel should be, the state of Israel should coalesce after Moshiach comes. That doesn't mean that we don't love Israel. It just means that we have a religious belief. They're not anti-Zionist the way people who want to kill Jews are, which is what you usually hear on this app. They're anti-Zionist because they feel that Israel should be under religious law. They love Israel and live in Israel and study in Israel. Their families of 10 kids are in Israel. So there's a huge difference between the religious belief that the state of Israel will come together after Moshiach, which is Messiah, and those people who say I'm anti-Zionist and I want to destroy the state of Israel. It's as different as black. Hang on. It's as different as black and white.
But don't you think there are like layers among these Orthodox Jews? Some are going to be more like tolerant of the current state, but they would still hold to their Orthodox beliefs. But then there are some who are a little bit more on the pro-Palestine camp. I know of one.
I can answer that question.
Then you have what do they call Narrate Carta or something? There's like
but let me give you a little context, military context, because I want to get the historical fact. Because El Normo, I was going to say this on that as well, because you were giving that specific sect. So the Neturei Karta is a widely unaccepted sect. Okay, there are always sects in every religion and everything like that. They have become a little bit more of extremists, where they meet with terrorist organizations, and just because they're Jewish doesn't mean they're not Jewish, but doesn't mean that they're actually big, that they're a big organization. They're actually
are they
very.
Anti-Semitic? That's what I want to
know. No. But we already determined that being anti-Israel is not anti-Semitic. So
no, he said anti-Zionism is anti-Semitic.
So that's a great question. You can ask him.
Yeah.
I can answer that, but you guys are talking, and I just want to make that point.
I did address it. I did address it, Nuha.
So you would basically say that they are Zionists, just not right.
It depends on your understanding of the women's
Nuha, am I talking right now? Okay, good.
Yeah.
So, I want to answer this.
To point out how people view Zionism differently.
Yeah.
Like Zionism is, I mean, like, you know, if you can point out that somebody like Nuha's definition of Zionism is effectively anti-Semitic.
No.
Yes, it is.
Okay, guys, stop. We're keeping respectful. If you want to raise your hand, just raise your hand.
I'm just explaining what I mean. If you can let me explain what I mean. Because what you're doing is you're saying
By saying somebody's anti-Zionist, being anti-Israel, is not anti-Semitic, is incorrect. Because the idea of Zionism as
it was a drone from
in
Iran.
self-determination
It
of
was
the state of Israel for
this
the
was
Jewish people, a homeland for the Jewish people. Okay?
And there's a bit
But
of
effectively
fire
what
in
you're saying is
Ramat
that if somebody doesn't believe in the state of Israel, they're anti-Semitic. Right? Effectively that is the case. But not in the case of Natura Carta, because they are still Jews. They still believe in the state of Israel.
There could be self-hating Jews.
Let me just finish saying what I'm saying.
No, I'm not. Because you jumped on the bird, and then we give you a chance because you were responding to Nuha.
And I'm finishing my point.
No, I understand, but we're not. You can raise your hand. Mr. Anderson will say, okay, I see your hand raised. Now you're on the list. And then when it comes to your turn, you can say anything you want.
I was letting him finish only because I believe he got cut off.
No, I understand. So now we got
the rules. I'm saying just because when he was talking, it didn't move, but yeah, it is the rule.
We're getting to a point though, so.
I agree.
You're having a discussion. I mean, you don't have to get triggered over discussion.
No, it's not about triggered. It's not about triggered. It's that when we follow the rules, the conversation flows so much better. And this is such a productive conversation, and we just want to keep it productive.
It's getting people to understand what different views of Zionism are. And some people feel that their view of Zionism is overtaking another person's view of Zionism, which is incorrect and can be anti-Semitic. And I think it's important to express this point because a lot of people seem to think if one person
Pika, you have 10 seconds.
Yeah,
okay, you keep on going
10
over
seconds.
10 seconds.
If one person thinks that one type of Zionism overtakes another, it can't be anti-Semitic. Well, that's incorrect. I'll land my plane there.
Okay. Norma, you were saying something?
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, and thank you also, Pika, for your nuance. I appreciate you as well. And back to you, Nuha. I did explain this the first time around.
This is your closing statement on this
I
topic,
didn't
so
know
you
yet.
can't. Oh, yeah, no, I thought you were saying back to Nuha. So can you finish yours, and then Nuha has a closing statement on it. She's asked the question, and then we move to Aziz.
Yeah. So I thought I explained this already. Wanting
Okay, no,
a
I
country.
understand.
I didn't go yet.
No, I got the point.
No, I didn't make it yet. Get it
No,
after
you
I
said
say
that they are Zionists. That just have a different concept.
Nuha. Let me say
I'm
my
not that
statement.
slow.
and then you go.
I'm not that slow.
I didn't say you were slow. I'm in the middle of my statement. If that's okay, please don't interrupt again. So
Okay.
if you attack, if you dismiss, if you delegitimize Israel or hold it to a double standard, Israel's committing genocide, but we don't talk about Assad or Yemen or Sudan or.
You're not answering his question. You're not answering her question.
What's that?
So
Could you repeat the question, please?
Are the Natura Carta anti-Semitic? So you have keep it brief. Don't bring in history.
Okay.
Say yes or no, and then why.
Okay.
Or it's complicated, and this is why.
Natura
So start with yes, no, or okay.
No, the Tory Carta are not anti-Semitic, but they undermine the legitimate homeland of the Jewish people. Therefore, they're acting against the interest of the Jewish people. So for this reason, we reject them from the community. There's only 5,000 of them out of some, I believe, 15 million Jews. Did I do it right?
Norma, I'm just going to be a moderator here and remind you that actually, according to your 3 Ds, they qualify for each of those. So you're holding a little bit of a double standard. You either need to keep to the rules that you set and label them anti-Semitic. I mean, you don't need to, but as a moderator, I just want to call it inconsistency. So they're not undermining. They are being inconsistent. They're holding double standards. What was your 3 Ds again?
Delegitimizing. Demonize or double standard. I don't agree
with that. Look a little bit deeper.
Can I ask you a really random question?
You don't need to agree. We'll agree to
Do you ever get that feeling like when you're on the beach, like the sands in between your toes, but it like kind of hurts, but it also like feels like decently good, almost like it's scratching?
I also wanted to just point out, Mr. Anderson, in relation to your point about,
I knew I asked you the question for a reason.
I was really satisfied when you said justified.
So you like the pain?
Wait, do we need to you can't open a new topic right now?
Yeah, see you.
Oh,
Respond to that.
Do you want to like?
And
I'll leave it.
feel free to close it.
Yeah, what about you?
Because when it comes back, you can open up a new subject.
no.
If you want to have a conversation with me,
Oh, no
as a
way.
person, then you
Okay,
can.
well, you know what they say.
Pick a person and you have two
If
back
you
and
want to
forth.
try paying
Then you
together,
get to end it.
I should get
Because
your
that's
number.
it.
Absolutely.
Alright.
Okay, so then that I agree with the consideration I think very hard to like I watched one of the interviews with them. It was an online interview, one of them leaders, and they are very Palestine actually, and some of them engage in Holocaust skepticism. So I wonder. Yeah.
I mean, everyone can have their own opinion, but obviously fringe groups exist everywhere, and there can be somebody Jews, there can be somebody everybody. But
I would say that they are more anti-Semitic than the average pro-Palestine sort of like Western activist who doesn't engage in Holocaust denial or genocide rhetoric and just wants a state for the Palestinians.
The irony of it is that to say they believe in the state of Israel.
Aziz?
Yeah,
you want to say something first?
Yeah, I guess, sorry. No, we just got screwed up because I had done, my comments before, and we were in the middle of trying to do any go back, and I kind of wanted to hear what I had to say about just my whole response to her, in terms of her, both the connection to the Holocaust,
Let's wait around later, because
alright,
could go and you can interrupt things if it's not creating like a new subject and it's moderated.
I'm saying we lost the whole part. No, meaning when it was my turn, just before, right? No, like we got totally off rails. So it's like that was the point I was trying to make.
Do you mind if we continue and then
that's fine. It's just
we're trying to give it like two back and forths. It's up to you, but
right, we did zero. So that's what
right. So you have to call the person out by name and then do the two back and forths. And then, so when we come around again, I'm sorry, it's we have perfect conversations, but
I understand. So I just say this so just on topic, and I'll leave the rest. I have just a comment on Missouri Kauka. I do think they fall in the 3Ds in terms of their ideology. Can you see what those 3Ds are?
Double standards,
right, double standard. Okay, right, that was it. And it's because
demonize.
Right, so it's the double standard one that I don't think they do, because I've seen very closely what their ideology is based on, and it's a really very, very non-double standard view from Talmud. And
it's not I think what we mean by double standard is holding Israel to a double standard. And if you really look at their rhetoric, which we don't have in front of us, this isn't I don't think this should be necessarily an argument because we can do our own research.
Yeah, I mean,
their rhetoric holds Israel to a double standard, where they meet with Iran, they meet with terrorist organizations. And I think Nua has some experience because she said she met with them. I have some experience. I really listened to their rhetoric and I really explored it. But
so I mean, the way I view them is that they are doing it because they truly believe that that's what the religion says they're supposed to do.
Yeah, but at some point they bastardized it and they actually celebrate deaths of Jews, which is weird.
So so that's where I don't know what you're
right. Again, they're so fringe that people don't really have enough information on them.
The leader of sorry, just to also add, the leader that interview I was glorifying the Iranian regime, in fact, which I thought was crazy. That was dope.
Yeah. So I just want to say that they're so fringe that most Jews don't know much about them, and most Israelis don't know much about them. They're very publicized in the Palestinian community because they're like, oh, look at Jews saying it, it must be fine. But if you really look at their rhetoric, I would believe it's anti-Semite. Of course, their own opinion.
Between the three of us, that's why we need to know, because they get such visibility that they don't deserve.
Right. So you should really take a look at what I'm saying. I don't think we should really have a full conversation about this because it's easy to do your own research on this. It's not a question. If you Google it and you pull up the information, it's very easy to see. So there's no room for debate. Do your own research. But Aziz.
Yeah, are we giving our conclusions on the members of parliament, or what we're
You
doing?
can go on anything. Jakob, can you go on mute, please?
I wanted to ask you a question.
We're going in order, so just to repeat the rules, we're being very respectful to each other. We're going in a couple of circles, no personal attacks. Don't try to say things that are actually helpful to the conversation and not hurtful things to other people. And so everyone who wants to talk, just raise your hand now, and we're going to go in the order of Aziz and then down the line.
What are we discussing? Are we sticking to the original topic?
You can respond to the original topic, or you can just change it because it's your turn. So again, another rule is you want to ask someone a question, you can ask someone a question back and forth, or you can make a statement on the thing. It's preferable if you stay on the other topic, but I feel like this topic has been killed, and like it's fully cooked out. But if you want to continue it, you can, but you don't need to.
Yeah, no, I think again it'll be down to interpretation whether you perceive them as anti-Semitic or not. It's difficult to say for certain, right? So I think we won't really be able to conclude that, right?
I said they are, others said not, but you can do your own research on this. If you want to ask questions on that, you can.
Yeah. I just wanted to say, when it comes to sort of conflicts like this, right? I like to look at things. I like to remove labeling and be a bit more formulaic in my approach. I like to think of anything I sort of suggest. I would hope would be applicable in reverse. So when I look at my criticisms of the state of Israel, I've got the state of Israel. I'm not talking about the historic biblical Israel or I'm talking about the current iteration. I'm entitled to be critical because it is a democracy, and so they have checks and balances and systems in place to ensure that the governing bodies are kept in check. And so my criticism of Israel is just simply democratic criticism, not critical of the people. And I think I give that same grace to the Gazans as well, because
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah.
No, I cut you off. That was my bad.
Okay. Yeah. And like I said, I like to be formulaic in my approach, meaning that if I remove labeling, the approach will be even both ways. So with the Gazans as well, despite you can say there's tunnels under the ground and there's rhetoric from the masses, from the Gazans that is anti-Semitic, I still give them the grace and say, well, they're being poorly managed or poorly governed, and I believe the same for the Israelis, right? And so I look at the voices of the Gazans, I look at the voice of Israel. Even if I perceive them as a monolith, I give them the grace. Even if 80% of the people seem to portray some, I still give the grace, right? I think the lack of grace is what is kind of leading to some of the conflict we have today. The lack of grace, basically, when we're unwilling, unwavering in our judgment. And that goes both ways. The Gazans are unwavering, maybe, in their judgment, and the Israelis are unwavering. And you ask why? Well, they're October 7th, so right? But then the Gazans have their days, but they think, well, that was our open. So it's, for me, I look at it as I approach it in the sense that tomorrow, if this is us, should we and will we be afforded the grace? Do we deserve it? Yes, we do. Everybody deserves the grace of understanding the complexities of how and why we got here today, and simply understanding that we can find more amicable diplomatic solutions. I do not believe that sort of outright military approach is the only viable option. So it sounds like I'm a pacifist. I'm not. I do understand you can. Israel.
Can I ask you a question? What could have been another solution that hasn't been tried already?
Look, I do understand. After October 7th, it was undeniable that Israel wouldn't defend themselves. This is not, not every country in the world would. It'd be stupid if I sat here and said, no, they have to cross their hands and do yoga, and work on the feng shui. No, obviously that's what a military is supposed to do, right? And I understand and respect that. I do, however, feel that Hamas are not capable of being an existential threat. I do believe that there was, and the hostages are the priority, but I do believe that the approach that Netanyahu essentially took, and notice how I separate Netanyahu from the rest of Israel. I believe that the approach Netanyahu took, he kind of jeopardized, he kind of tarnished.
So you're giving history. What I'm asking is, what is the solution? What could have been the solution? And you said something interesting that I just want to clarify. You say, oh, the Palestinians have their days. October 7th is one day as well from this war, right? This war has been going on for generations of suicide bombings, of things back and forth. On both sides, bad things, right? But you don't see Israelis blowing themselves up and celebrating their deaths. And I think that's a very important part. And I also think that you are doing a little bit of double standard by saying that since Israel's a democracy, Hamas had the chance to be a democracy, right? Just like Iran had the chance to be a democracy. So you're holding them on a different level and a double standard because you're saying, well, if they're going to do this, but this has been the history for forever, so why should we expect any change? And then another point you made earlier was, why doesn't Israel get involved and get rid of Hamas? Because if they would have done that, it would have caused problems. America can't do that as well anymore in this generation. People can't get involved. So you just need to support them and hope for the best.
Do we not think a little bit, like somewhere in the back of our minds, that Netanyahu has a bit of tunnel vision here, and he's kind of jeopardizing? What?
We can't go back and forth, so you can't go off because I want to move back to El Norma because we're extending the conversation, not like wrapping it up.
Is it actually going in PTR order?
Yeah, unless the person doesn't want to talk.
Got it.
But you can ask someone a question, you can go back with them once or twice. Moderators can clarify things or ask a question, but we're trying to go in PTR.
Old school. Hey, mister, can y'all free the chat real quick? Is it on me now, mister?
Yeah, I think it's on normal. I don't know how to free the chat.
Hey, just click it on if you want. Yeah, those 3 dots, man. Free the chat real quick, please.
Alright, perfect.
Alright. So, there's an interesting nuance here. And that nuance is, when did that land ever become Palestinian, quote unquote? And the answer is, there is no treaty that, or agreement, or point in time in which the Arabs of that land had sovereignty. It was first controlled by the Ottoman Turks for 600 years, and then it was controlled when the Ottoman Turks lost World War I by siding with the Germans. The League of Nations, which was trying to create peace in the world, handed it over to the winner of that war, one of the allies, Britain, to create a mandate so that the indigenous people of the land, which included Jews and Arabs and Christians and Yazidis and Druze and Samaritans, could have self-determination, which was a movement spreading around the world. Lands were similarly divided up among Greeks and Turks and, if you recall, Pakistanis and Indians and even the nations of Europe were similarly divided up, and borders were formed. Now, the only principle of international law that then obtained was called uti possidetis udis, which means that the new country that is formed takes the boundaries of the previous mandate. That's how we know what the boundaries are of Uzbekistan and Tajikistan and Turkmenistan and so forth when the Soviet Union fell, and for that matter, Poland and Bulgaria. How do we know, or even Germany, how do we know what the borders are? Uti possidetis juris. Now, that would have meant that since the Palestinians rejected the partition and accepted no country, again, they weren't called Palestinians, and they were called Arabs, they said, no, we're going to destroy the state of Israel. And they tried, 5 armies attacked on May 15th, 1948, the day after Israel declared independence. They tried to push us into the sea and kill us. The head of the Arab League said they wanted complete annihilation, a bloody massacre. That's a quote. Israel won that war. Nevertheless, it did not take land that was given to it by the British mandate and accepted a smaller amount. To this day, the Palestinians, despite having been offered it something between 5 and 7 times, have offered a state of their own, have never once accepted that state. Therefore, there is no place where they can say they have some sovereignty. This is true in Judean America, which Jordan called the West Bank, the Palestinians just called the territories, and this is true in Gaza. There is no entity that has sovereignty over Gaza. The people there say they're refugees. Well, if they're refugees, then it's not their land, and they receive billions in international aid because they're refugees. You cannot be a refugee in the land which you live in and which you govern, which is the case of Gaza. So I just say that if the Palestinians had wanted a state, they would have a state. The same way other people said they could have exactly what Israel has, which is a middle-class society with skyscrapers and beaches and technology, schools, hospitals, businesses. But instead they have dedicated every penny to destroying their neighbor, the state of Israel, the Jewish state, the capital of which is Jerusalem. I'll land it there. Thanks for this time.
Statelessness does not mean illegitimacy. You know that, right?
Yeah, I never said that. It means no sovereignty. That's what it means.
Right.
I don't think we're like going by.
Yeah, let's try to.
By order.
Yeah, let's go to the next person, please. Aziz, you can ask him that question afterwards. I know it's not ideal, but there's no other way to really do this. If anyone wants to vote on something and put it in the chat if they have a better way to actually run this. All right. Who's next?
Oh, John, if you want, you can go.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say there's not a speck of dust out of place in the whole universe. That what happened in Gaza is a direct, it's just physics, opposite and equal reaction. October 7th, case closed. Iran, the attack yesterday, the ongoing attacks now, and Iran's persistent involvement in international terrorism. You know, Israel can't live with the specter of a national Holocaust and a nuclear bomb being dropped over Jerusalem or Tel Aviv. It's just unacceptable. So I just think that all this is destiny, and I'm complete. Good Shabbos. Passing it to Rhodey.
Okay. Hello, everyone. And the Norma, I didn't see you. And Pikachu.
Somebody else don't.
Yeah, has been a minute. What, you can't hear me?
A bit soft.
Are you the only one that can't hear me, or no one can hear me?
I can hear you, Rowdy.
Okay. Okay, that's fine. Cool. So, 2 things about like the previous topic. I actually don't believe that anti-Zionism, entails anti-Semitism. There are like a lot of versions of anti-Zionism for different reasons that don't, I think, entail anti-Semitism. One might be because of anarchists that are anti-national, and they don't believe any nation states should exist, not only Israel, but including Israel. That means that there will be anti-Zionists. And it will remember why they don't believe
Maybe I should go to the gym.
Just cut down there against the country right now. Their reasons are purely theological and have nothing to do with any type of a group bias. But there are a lot of those types of anti-Zionists for reasons that, from their perspective, totally make sense. But most anti-Zionists, I would say, either anti-Semites or have some type of anti-Semitic tendencies that they don't realize. So, for example, if you believe that all people have the right for self-determination in a country, right? But you don't believe the Jews have that right for any for any group-related reasons, you're an anti-Semite. It's very simple because of those 3Ds that are relating to group properties or group attributes. You were talking about also another thing that I don't remember. What were you saying about the attack on Iran before, Mister? Sorry? Yeah, well, I wasn't here when you were talking about the literal topic. So I just wanted to know what I don't know what you're talking about. People here.
Oh, what?
He's asking how I got onto the story council.
Sorry?
Oh, someone knew how I was trying to understand what anti-Semitism was, and then she had a follow-up question. Does she think that the Nurture Carta is anti-Semitic? Some people said yes, some people said yes.
Oh, by the way, when we say they're fringe people, like it's literally true. They're like only consist of 400 families, if I'm not mistaken. 2,000 people here in Israel, and like the rest, I think 30,000 or so in the US. Like they're literally nothing and no one. And I think they lost even the theological debate. Forget about the political debate. And for some reason, they're like admired around the world, and they say, "Look, those are the true Jews that." Anti-Semites. But this is just like a funny truth.
They like the attention.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's like a funny thing to even think about. They're like not really serious in the Jewish.
There's 1,000 to 2,000 members.
Sorry? No, there is between 1,000 and 2,000 in Israel, not 1,000 and 2,000 all around.
No. The group likely comprises 1,000 to 3,000 total members globally, according to ChatGPT.
Wait, what? That was, I think, in 2007. Let me see.
Yeah, and then of those, a much smaller subgroup, typically under 100, is publicly active in demonstrations or political efforts. And
okay. Well, there is a reason why you see the same exact. Well, there is a reason why you see the same exact faces in all of those videos depicting the Carta. But I thought they were like a little bit larger group. I know that there were like between 1,000 and 2,000 in Israel in a census in 2007.
This is not the first time that Netanyahu has attempted to sabotage the Trump administration's negotiations.
Well, I like to also
and Netanyahu is getting more and more desperate.
Relating to what the world thinks, just in general, I think there is like an absolutely, anti-Semitic flavor. I wouldn't say it's like through and through anti-Semitic, but like there is like an anti-Semitic flavor when you see like, how much Israel tries to minimize civilian casualties, how much they're trying to, when you look at the ratios between combatants and civilians in a very densely populated place, in an urban warfare against the guerrilla fighters that are literally hiding behind civilians and in civilian facilities. And you see this type of duration, this type of inaccuracy, and so on and so forth. And then to claim this is a genocide, that's like I think the most laughable thing ever. It's just like, for any non-biased person to think that this is a genocide, I think is the most like laughable thing ever. But for some reason, it is cool and it is fine. And some people say there is a reason why you are hated. There is a reason why a lot of people kicked you out of 109 countries. And those types of like Nazi tropes.
Time off, Brody. The genocide thing was being peddled in the weeks after October 7th. This was a calculated strategy by the Palestine BDS movement. They were always going to say there was a planned ethnic cleansing and a planned genocide. The first thing I heard of it was 2 or 3 weeks after maybe it was a month after I heard, they're going to push all the Palestinians over into Egypt. They're going to try and wipe them out of Gaza. That's not happened. And then it shifted into we're going to claim there's a genocide no matter what happens because we know there's going to be lots of people dead. And the other thing is it's very clear Jews can be anti-Semites. Jews can hate Jews. And Neturei Carta, certainly the ones that are active publicly, and the kinds of Neturei Carta that show up at Holocaust denial conferences, they're anti-Semites from what I I believe. Anyway, go on, Rudy.
Rudy, are you in Israel? Rudy, are you done?
Rodi is Israeli. I don't know if that's what you're doing.
Yeah. I think he lost connection. If he's done, then I will be.
Do we know where where are we on the time frame in terms of the response? I knew it was like 5-6 hours. You want to go? Okay, just say we're preparing and then expecting the timing of the action, the ballistics to come. Meaning, the last report I saw was that they were being told in Israel that there was a 5-hour window to come to prepare, and then
They already released it. They said, just go and say, oh, we cut all the missiles.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is relevant, but I also just read
I'm the
a headline.
I'm the next one. I listened to the rule carefully. It go by the order, right? All right, Dave, go.
No, I was answering Ariel's question.
I'm the next one, right, Nuha? You agree? Okay, thank you very much.
I wasn't opening the
You still
phone.
disagree? I'm the next one.
Yes, you are the next one, Dave. I was just
Thank you very much. Could you let me talk, please? Sorry. Dave, try to be respectful. I know that was your turn. I get it. Just put it in
Yes,
chat.
Dave,
I'm sorry.
you are the chosen one. It's okay.
He's been waiting. They know me, and they're very fearful that nobody's scared of you. Nobody's scared of you, Dave. Yeah. You have no idea who you are. We're going in order. I'm sorry. Okay, we're gonna make sure. Try to keep it not too winded, but we're waiting for you. I'm gonna. Yeah, listen to. I'm going to start a different angle. I'm not going to go back to the previous angle. So basically, the most important right now, 2025 June, how can we have peace in the Middle East? And if we can have peace in the Middle East, how would that make for Europe, right? And things like that. So I want to look at that from that angle. So if you have no peace in the Middle East, that means Europe will eventually be destroyed because many of the European nations are divided due to one reason: migration politics. So migration politics can only be stopped if we have peace in the Middle East. Once we have peace in the Middle East, whoever come to Europe, fail to integrate, can finally go back to where they come from and have peace and prosperity, right? And Europe rather invest in Middle East to achieve the prosperity in order to, help these people who cannot integrate in Europe, but actually now they can go back and start raising family and being prosperous, right? So the peace in Middle East is very important in June 2025. And since yesterday, we now have a glimpse of a new possibility of peace in the Middle East, long term. Why? Because since 1,400 years, right, the moment Islam is being formed, divided to two groups, Shia and Sunni, right? And for 1,400 years, Sunni, the Saudi has two holy cities that is recognized by all Muslims, Mecca and Medina, right? So in order for other faction like Shia to challenge the Saudi, right, in June 2025, is that they have to destroy Israel and take over Jerusalem, the third holy city according to Muslim. And this is the foundation why we have all the no peace in Middle East. It's the fight between Shia and Sunni since 1,400 years, fighting who is the leader of Islamic world, right? And so Shia, which is the main one, is Iran regime, right? And this is the mother of multiple proxy. And since 2024, Israel has declared to fight this multi-front war. One by one, Hezbollah is gone, Hamas is going, and Houthi is going, right? So, and now the mother of all this proxy, not only to destabilize Middle East and also destabilize the West,
and it is infiltrating the West in so many ways, it's finally come to a closing chapter. This is not only a good day for Israel, also a good day for the West, and also a good day for many Sunni Arab nations. So today is a good day, and the question is, we have to recognize this because Iran regime is paying a lot of people come to Clubhouse 24/7 to promote their statement that is anti-West, infiltrating the U.S. and things like that, into promote one mission: division by deception. Right? There are a lot of things they try to deceive people. So all this terminology, what is anti-Zionist, what is anti-Semitic, Netanyahu is bad and therefore Israel is bad and Israel is corrupt. All these are different approach of manipulating the terminology in order to confuse and ultimately lead to division, right? So you can find them a lot in Clubhouse. And therefore, if you are coming from Europe, you have to decide, do you want your country to go into civil war? Because right now, Ireland is ready to go to civil war, and UK, there are a lot of discussion going to civil war, and Paris and France has collapsed, and so the Hungary, they are now talking about the time, how long more EU will last, right? And again, we are all talking about migration politics. So in order to prevent the collapse of Europe, we have to make sure Middle East will achieve long-term peace. And Roddy is here. I don't know Roddy is still here, but the whole idea is we have to look at, once Iran regime is gone, once the 85% of the Iranians are finally free from totalitarianism, and how can we now, with the new friendship formed between the Iranian people and Israel, and then we look at Syria, we look at what is fair to make sure people there are safe, eventually having truce, free. Okay, so again, this is very difficult.
Wrap it up a little, please, bro.
Yeah, so Aziz, as usual,
Please, you have no right to interrupt him.
Yeah, Aziz will never fail because Aziz feared three things. Aziz feared the free Palestine from
Wait, I'm cutting you off right now. Dave, we are not doing personal attacks of any sort and kind. I'm sorry that I did ask you to cut you off. It was respectful, but yeah, like 5 minutes is the limit of speech, and you're getting close to it.
I'm fine.
But just, yeah.
I hope you understand. I do not want to personally attack somebody except somebody trigger purposely. Yeah.
I get it. That's why I gotta just cut you off. It makes sense, but we're just gonna try to move on from it. It's just not productive to the conversation. But Dave, please continue. You have a couple more minutes if you can wrap up in the next 30 seconds.
So the whole idea, I'm not interested in personal attack because
you don't even need to comment on it. You don't even have to comment on it. Just let's move on.
So for the peace, that means you need to challenge what the pro-Palestine. This is not personal attack. This is globally the pro-Palestine movement. Free Palestine everywhere, protests in all European city and US city, right? So what they fear most is from the river to the sea, they can never chant this again. In order to stop this pro-Palestine chanting, which according to the US state Ruby, that this is a cry for battle. Because of this chanting, 2 diplomats in Washington DC be killed, and people celebrating, the one who killed them celebrated, let's do it again, free Palestine. So free Palestine means keep going and killing Jews at every corner of the world. So in order to stop this chanting, we have to now demolish the possibility of from the river to the sea, replace it from having peace from Kurt down to the southern part of Druze, all the way to Israel, and this is the river, not just from the Jordan River, from the Euphrates River, all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. By achieving this peace, then we can finally prevent any more free Palestine from river to the sea, which means killing all Jews in the whole world. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Ed. Randy, do you want to go next?
By the way, just so you know, Iran said that the 100 drones that they sent were actually just tests, and they're just testing the air system. I guess they learned that it's work. Right. So we passed that test. Also, French. I'm getting reports from Twitter.
Why waste them? Why send another 100?
Yeah, I'm also getting reports on Twitter that France has already surrendered. All right. Okay, Aziz.
Actually, I think it's Hermes. Is it Hermes' turn?
Did the order get messed up? Was someone supposed to go?
T-shirts. It's a new belt. Orders in song.
Huh? Aziz?
Yeah.
I think you're next unless the order got messed up, but I don't know.
Yeah, I think I was after Randy. I'm not sure if Randy wanted to speak.
Yeah, I tried to ask Randy like 5 times, but he's not here, so he can go.
Yeah, he can speak after me if he comes with me, so. Yeah, I was just going to push back a little, obviously. Dave's talking about, when I look at this, obviously, there's
Are you asking Dave a question? Just clarify that beforehand. Or are you just making a statement?
I guess I'm sort of responding. I'm just responding to.
Okay, he's just responding. So Dave, you're not going to respond to him. You're just making a statement. No, yeah, because sorry, Dave. Dave was new, so I'm just going to give him the rule. You can ask someone a question if you want, then you have to go back quickly to back and forths, like no rambling. But he's not asking you a question. He's just making a statement.
Yeah. So I mean, look, Dave is referencing the threat of Islam. I'm assuming he's alluding to some form of extremist threat from the east to the west. But I think when you look at the liberation of the Iranians, right? I mean, this is going to echo the liberation of the Iraqis and the liberation. I mean, we've seen liberations before. I don't think this will be. There won't be like a convention after where the remaining 85% who are in favor of American Israel, they're going to have some kind of Comic-Con where they just agree. Like it will be a failed state once they leave. And this has been a legacy of the military-industrial complex. So this is not a new thing. So this is the underlying issue here is that war has to continue. War is incentivized, and Dave is sort of never alluding to the fact that war is, the war hawks in America incentivize war. He tends to ignore that harsh reality. But that's equally problematic as the extremism that he's alluding to. These are equal ends of it. They're equal extremes, but on the opposite ends of the spectrum, they're equal extremes. And so, like I said, war is incentivized. Today it will be Iran, tomorrow it will be China or Russia. I think the main threat to our peace is the profiteers for more. That seems to be brushed under the carpet by Dave's statement as well. And to make a threat a monolith, right? To say, well, extremism from this particular place is dangerous. No, but extremism from all places is dangerous. And so the framing in which Dave was giving is as harmful and dangerous as what he's alluding to is the main threat. The idea of creating the dangerous other, the monolith. So that's what I wanted to say.
Ariels.
I think Dave should be allowed to respond though.
30 seconds. 30 seconds to respond, please. Dave, are you there?
Me? Oh, yes, sure. So you see, I'm talking about peace, right? Middle East peace. And I also want to add that Trump, in his inauguration speech, he wants peace. Whereas Aziz is talking about war must continue, and he's promoting war must continue, right? So that is the whole premise of what I think Muslims fear most, that the war would stop. In order for war to stop, you will have to disband from the river to the sea, Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea.
Wait, can you explain that? Because you're talking. Wait, I just want to be clear because I really don't understand you. Could you stop talking in metaphors and just be clear? Don't use any rhetoric or slogans. Just be very clear. Don't say to the river, to the sea. Say Israel. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I'm losing your analogies. I know English isn't your first language, but that's okay. But analogies are losing us because no one can really follow you.
Yeah, the main thing is I want to push for peace. I support of peace. And I hope Trump stick to his inauguration speech that he wants peace as well, right? So, and what we hear from Aziz is war must continue.
I'm not sure if we're hearing that, but I'll let Aziz respond. I guess you guys are having a conversation.
Yes.
But try to keep it brief and to the point. Don't use flowery language. Try to be as precise as possible, because that way, the conversation can flow. So, Dave, did I cut you off, or do you have more to say?
No, I just say.
Okay, Aziz, do you want to respond to him?
Yeah, just briefly. I mean, I think what I would say is, the antithesis of war. I'm trying to allude to the core of behavior that leads to unforgiving, an unforgiving approach that leads to war. And again, when war is incentivized, like I said, we can talk about the threat of Islam or extremism in general, but typically these entities, these organizations, these terrorist organizations are propped up by sometimes Russia, whoever. It could be anyone, but ultimately these are just pawns in a greater game. And again, when it comes to liberation of the Iranians, which he was alluding to, I don't believe the legacy of liberation America's displayed up until this point has been that successful. I can't think of a successful American liberation, and so apart from their own, and you can argue that as well. But yeah, so that's kind of the point I was making, that kind of ignoring the
You haven't heard of the concentration camps in Europe, Aziz?
What about the Arab Spring?
There's a few. I'm sure you can name a few.
May I jump in officially after it?
Yeah, there's a few, but typically, the approval rates after an American war just go down the drain, right?
Aziz, I just want to call you out a little bit because you asked why doesn't Israel get involved, and I actually was going to bring up this American point that whenever America gets involved, they get bad press for it. There's a lot of things that they participated that we don't even know about, but yeah, big countries cannot participate anymore because they get bad press and it's just not worth it. It's better for their countries, but you're holding now a double standard again where you're saying that America shouldn't, but then you're saying that Israel should get involved with another sovereignty of a nation.
Well,
and it's their fault that Hamas is somehow a dictatorship or whatever we want to call it.
Well, I think if you have a threat via proximity, then your obligation is to defend your borders. I understand. So I think with Israel and Gaza and stuff, they have a proximity issue, right? But with Europe and England, they have the luxury of being across the pond, right, so to speak. And so they should take a more diplomatic, or at least attempt a diplomatic approach. Where David alluded to the fact that the extremist Islamists are war hungry, well, I'm sort of simply arguing that they are war hungry men and women on both sides, and that's war. The core of war hunger is not being addressed. He's simply addressing war hunger on one side. That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of a bit of a disingenuous.
So can we just wrap it up in a quick thing, because I think you went a little bit over the place and I lost your point. You can wrap up a sentence if that's
possible. Just simply speaking, David alluded to the fact that they are war-hungry Islamists, right? And I'm rebuttaling by saying that he's conveniently framing and ignoring the fact that there's war hawks in America that incentivize to fight wars.
That's fair. Dave, are you saying that, or did you just leave out for some reason the other side?
I mean, if we want peace, right? So how would the Arab nation in Middle East want to achieve peace. And right now, Jordan has banned the Muslim Brotherhood, right? And
wait, can I just respond to his question? Try not to get too much into semantics. It's not necessary. We don't need a history lesson. Everybody's had one.
Yes.
And we're wrapping this up.
His main point is he felt like I'm targeting the extreme Islamist. What I'm just saying that I'm not the one who's saying it, because this is actually happening, right? In order for peace, the Arab nation has to ban the extreme Islamist, which is Muslim Brotherhood. So I'm not. This is not my opinion. This is also the Muslim Arab nation who want peace. So the whole objective, if you want peace, you have to get rid of Muslim Brotherhood. Period.
Okay, cool.
I have a question.
May I jump?
Wait, who asked if they can jump in?
I'm
Norm.
No, Norm.
Okay. Norm, have you spoke yet?
What round are we on? I've gone twice.
Okay, so in front of you, let's let her talk. We'll let the new people talk, and then we'll go around again.
This morning I heard about the news that Israel bombed these attacks on Iran, but I've not understand what instigated that.
I'm happy to answer that one. Iran was told that if they did not agree not to enrich uranium to weapon grade levels, they would be faced with overwhelming force. They were told this by the President of the United States. They didn't sign the deal. The President warned them, gave them numerous opportunities. They were
And there was a tax break.
Yeah, thank you. They were given numerous opportunities. Because Iranians are known for just delaying and fake negotiating and bad faith and not being trustworthy, at some point, the United States and Israel agreed to take out their nuclear facilities. That's why they were attacked by Israel as a representative of the Western world and civilization, which has agreed not to allow a jihadist terrorist state to obtain a nuclear weapon.
Okay, what I have to say on that is Iran is not a jihadist terrorist state. I think Iran is probably if Israel were to become on good terms with Iran, they would find that it's probably one of the peaceful, because they really are not like the Sunni extremist Islam. And I think for America and Israel to think that they can dictate what warfare weapons that another sovereign country can build really shows who the bullies and the war hungry are.
So Asta, I'm going to respond to this. Let me just respond to this. Asta, you made a statement that is based on zero fact.
It's assaulter.
Wait, let me finish. The people in Iran would not agree with you. The people who ran away from Iran that I have met, had conversation with, would not agree with you. That is clearly a false statement. Something that we are doing here is we're not saying anything false. You can say an opinion if you'd like, but we're being respectful here, and we're trying not to blatantly say something that is false and propaganda-ish. They identified as an Islamic regime, and you can ChatGPT this. This is not going to be discussion and doesn't need to be discussed. You can simply do your own research. All right. Should we move on to the next thing?
My next question is that let me ask you a question. What about if another country decided also, as a sovereign independent country, we want to have weapons of warfare, just like America has, just like Israel has?
Okay, let's not even respond to this.
So, what about if we were able to do that? You've got to bomb them as well.
Yes, sir.
There are laws and rules about this. You can research that as well. It's obvious that you didn't come in with even trying to do any research, and you're trying to provoke to get attention. But if you'd like, again, we'll come around to you. But yeah, that you're not making any sense whatsoever. All right, Jack.
Yeah, I'm not gonna speak as kind of disrespectfully as other people have about all the Muslims are terrorists or whatever. I'll just say that there's an extremist Zionist government in Israel right now, who is not afraid to start a new war with Iran or any of its neighbors due to security justifications or whatnot. And we're seeing that happen. I think Netanyahu's trying to save his legacy from the failure of October 7th, and he's starting this war to get rid of Iran's nuclear weapons and enrichment and the prospect of nuclear weapons. The idea that the Sunni world is the terrorist world is crazy. I don't know why that lady said that. But this isn't really about terrorism. If it was, the United States wouldn't be so buddy-buddy with Qatar right now. So, which does fund and sponsor terrorism in different places all over the world. And so I don't believe that's the principle to this whole thing. I think it more has to do with Netanyahu capitalizing on the failed negotiations between the U.S. and Iran. And we're seeing the response from that. But I don't think Iran's response is necessarily just going to be those 100 drones. I'm sure they just sent them out as a small response, but not to use their ballistic missiles until later. So Netanyahu or the Israelis say that this operation is going to go on for 2 weeks. So I'm expecting Iran to attack Israel a lot more harshly in the next 2 weeks, and we'll see how Israel and the U.S. and all their allies are able to defend. But I don't think Netanyahu is going to be successful. He's going to be successful in maybe taking out the nuclear threat for now, but the regime is not going to fall from this. These guys, you got to imagine, if you think Hamas is like radical and die-hard kind of people, they haven't surrendered, and it's been almost 2 years, and Gaza's pretty much a flat wasteland right now. Iran and this regime, I think, has the same mentality in that they're not going to surrender either. So the people who have hopes of like, oh, we're going to have liberation and all this stuff, I don't really buy into that. We'll see. But yeah, it doesn't seem like this is the peaceful route necessarily to start a war. So that's the thing.
They have good commanders, and those commanders are dead. So he's not going to have to just not surrender. They'll just get.
It's a bit hard to hear you, Ariel.
Ariel, who's president?
No, it's not good yet. It's very muffled. Alright, so Jack, one, if anybody said that all Muslims are extremists, that's a weird statement, and if I heard it, I would have condemned it, which again, it doesn't mean
He
anything.
said we don't want war. Like, he said, oh, the Muslims want war. That's what he said.
I think he was more talking about the extremists.
Nobody said that.
That wanted
Dave
war,
said it.
but
Dave said it. Because he's
I didn't really understand Dave so well. So Dave, is that what you said? That all Muslims want war?
Look, I just say that.
Dave, it's a yes or no. Dave,
no,
it's a yes or no. Okay, so then you can clarify. What's
no.
that? Okay.
I say no, not all Muslims are extremists, because I think, I believe, I choose to believe 80% like to be peaceful. Is the troublemaker 15-20% that are the extremists, and the Muslims themselves know about that, period.
Okay, cool. Official sources say it's 30%, but that's cool. You're being moderate.
Do you have the Twitter quote?
What's that?
Do you have the Twitter quote, Andy? Just the line that Trump said about the commanders.
Oh, Ariel, you're back. We can hear you now.
Yeah. Do you have the quote, the President Trump's quote from Twitter?
Yeah, but I actually agree more with what Jack is saying than disagree. They're a big country.
See, the problem with what Jack is saying is this is a pre-existing conflict. Do you know how many times Israel has bombed Iranian shipments in Syria over the past couple of years? It's not like conflict ever, just starts. It's always pre-existing. So this preemptive strike was absolutely a necessity, and it takes an act of courage.
Yeah. But John, looking forward, does it go on and they keep fighting and then they negotiate a settlement, or is this regime change?
This is about taking out the intelligence.
If this is regime change, this is the most successful attack in the history of everything. Okay? You should be expecting this to escalate, or if it does, wow.
If there's a regime change, it's on the ground. It's the people themselves uprising and formulating their own resistance. It's not going to be an incursion. It's going to be an internal resistance.
Yeah.
Which it may or may not be likely. Who knows?
And just to be clear, because I just want to clarify my language, I said I agree more with Jack, not on everything. A lot of the things Jackie said, I don't agree with. Like, for example, like, this is not a peaceful way, like, they shouldn't have attacked or stuff like that. But the facts I do agree with you that this war is going to probably be dragged on. They thought they would succeed with one of those drones. They didn't. They're going to try different things. I really wonder what capabilities they have and what capabilities Israel is not aware of. Because people are wondering, why isn't the October 7th attack happened? Because there's most of the resources is not in Hamas. It's a tiny country. Mossad has been spending a lot of resources in other countries, which they've proven by the attacks that they've been doing, which are, like, this will go in the history books. No nations have done such successful attacks like this in history. The Beeper attack, this attack, other attacks that they've done and rescue missions that they've done are just, like, studied in war books.
The Simar bomb was in that hotel. It went on for 2 years.
What's that?
Unbelievable, the story. The bomb that they got Simar's brother inside the Iranian compound was placed under the bed 2 years before the night of his death. That's how much advance planning they had on that.
Right. So it makes sense. People keep on saying, "Oh no, the October 7th, they allowed it." No, they just didn't have good intelligence there. They can't do everything. They can drop the ball in some places. I mean, come on.
Well, you mentioned.
Could I go now?
Who?
Go ahead, Norm. Go ahead.
Norman. Thanks. Is it my turn?
Yes.
Okay. So, Iran came to the United States. It was under Ahmadinejad. Before that, the capability came to New York, came to the United Nations. Before the entire world said, we are going to envelop the big Satan in a ball of fire. The big Satan is the United States. That's you and me. And we're going to envelop the little Satan in a ball of fire. The little Satan is Israel. The ball of fire is a nuclear bomb. We have learned through repeated painful lessons to believe our enemies when they talk to us. Iran is the world's largest sponsor of terror. They sponsor the Houthis, which are have been attacking free trade, and in which the United States, Israel, and Saudi Arabia have been fighting in Yemen for quite a long time. Recently, the United States bailed out of that one. They've sponsored terror in Syria. 650,000 Arabs dead in Syria because of Iraq. 350,000 Arabs dead in Yemen because of Iran. They occupy Lebanon with Hezbollah, an internationally recognized terrorist organization. They sponsored, trained, and armed the October 7th terror attack of Hamas on the innocent civilians of little farms in Israel and Gaza, the Gaza envelope. Old ladies, Holocaust survivors, little babies, children, kids dancing at a music festival. This is the soul of evil, the embodiment of a terror state. So defanging them is an act of, indeed, of liberation, and an act of adding peace, of creating peace in the world. Somebody quite superficially said Israel, the United States doesn't have a good record of liberating people from terror, fascistic, totalitarian, oppressive regimes. I should point out that 85% of Iran itself want the Iranian genocide regime out. Well, that person perhaps never heard of Imperial Japan, a genocidal monolith, or Nazi Germany, a genocidal monolith. Both fell thanks to the United States, and by the way, Soviet Union participated in the Nazi struggle. Thank you. They never heard of Korea, the Korean War, in which we beat back the communists. They never heard of the Cold War, in which we beat the Soviet Union and caused it to dissolve peacefully without even having to fire a bullet. There were, 22 countries behind the Iron Curtain that were liberated thanks to the United States. When Iran says that it is conducting a jihad, we have learned to believe them. A violent attempt to take over the world, make everybody worship the way they do. And the civilized world is not going to stand for. And Israel's acting on behalf of the civilized world against the forces of violent Shia Islamist jihad. I'll end it there.
Alright. So, I think it's my turn, and then we'll go to the next person. But yeah, I don't understand why this war is so complicated, to be honest. I mean, I sit a lot in these other rooms because there's a lot of more Palestinian side rooms, and it's like the same talking points over and over and over again. And what I actually like about this room is the point that I think that we're getting across is that no one here is asking for the total annihilation of Arabs. No one here is, grouping together things. And in those rooms, there's a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of false statements and twisting of facts. And if you just look at today, you look at what's going on, everything is trying to lead towards peace. And as much as I don't believe any war is justified. So when people say, this is justified, that's justified, no, both of these are unjustified. And if you want to say one is justified, then the other is justified. But right now, what other options do they have? They're just going to keep on kidnapping people and demanding hostages. They're going to keep on doing these attacks. If you're like, we should negotiate with them. America has a rule, we don't negotiate with terrorism. Israel, for some stupid reason, doesn't have that rule. So every time a person is kidnapped, they held hostage. They need to hold 1,000 people for one person. That's what they did last time when there was a soldier. And it just, why reward people for committing atrocities and videoing it and being glad about it? And you should listen to the recordings on YouTube about the people who participated in these, and it will make your blood curdle. It's not so hard if you're not just listening to the propaganda to look at which nation is actually trying to fight justly and which one just doesn't care for human right. And then also for the people who say, they should just have the state, you think it would turn out any different than what they have right now?
This is not sociopathic. This is not a war crime. You can reframe this in a very negative light, but, Netanyahu keeps referring to the lion. Look at El Normo's PTR. I've read in a book somewhere that the word Napoleon means a thicket or lion in the thicket. So there's a spirit at play here. And, the people of Israel, Jews around the world, America, everybody is sick and tired of this terrorism. It's a long time coming. And, children have to be punished if they're insolent or they're causing problems. I mean, I'm not a father, but, if you have to discipline your child, to me, this is a discipline operation.
There's no discipline. This is war. That's what it is. It's a war. I don't think it's fair to call this disciplining. No, it's trying to eradicate something. If there's something.
Well, it's a form of conditioning, is what I'm saying.
That's problematic.
I don't think it's problematic. I think everything is a form of conditioning and communication.
Conditioning is a war crime.
Well, either way, this is taking out the intelligence. You can't have a regime change quick enough.
But Iran, this is not. This is doing exactly what they did during the 6 Day War. They understood that if they didn't do this, they would die. This is removing a cancer from your body when the doctor says there's a cancer.
I agree. That's the biggest goal.
This is not a childhood thing. This is not an education. This is, if you don't do this, this will then, why don't you drink a diplomatic? Why don't you die? Why don't I die? No, just fucking get in there and get rid of it for me. I'm gonna go into the surgery. Steve Jobs, one of the smartest people in the world, he became one of the wealthiest people in the world. If you want to somehow put that
Well,
together.
if you want to keep going with the analogy, I mean, you're going to have to discuss metastacism. You know, metastasizing.
Right, well, I'm just going to close with that. But he decided, no, I'm just going to drink some smoothies and shit, and I'm not going to take the surgery, even though he could have had the surgery and lived.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Anderson, I like your analogy that this is a cancer. It's not it's actually a benign cancer when Israel was formed, right? But the Arab nation fear that it is a metastasis, and that's why they think that you have to quickly remove it before it becomes metastasis, right? And the reason why they think it's a metastasis and not a benign cancer, because it's off in their religion. The religion has already foretold them, if ever Israel coming back, it's not going to be benign nation, benign cancer, but a metastasis cancer. And we will go beyond what is given by United Nations, the boundary of 1948, to beyond it, and they call it Great Israel, right? And that is the fundamental in the religion, right? In order to fight this religion concept that you have to destroy Israel when it's still in a benign state, rather than it become a metastasis state. That's why they come up with all kind of twisted concept from the Jordan River to the sea, right? So in order to have forever peace in Middle East, then we have to destroy that concept also through religion. That is, Israel is going to achieve the prophecy written easily 3,000 years ago, to say that for Middle East to have peace, then Israel has to achieve the prophecy. And yesterday is the first step toward achieving that prophecy. And that's a religion against religion. Poison against poison.
I don't think there's a religion against religion. Because again, that makes it more problematic, and that people are also upset at Netanyahu because like, oh, you don't follow all their religion, and it's like whatever. It's not as religious as it thinks.
You know,
Israel has done one thing in its history that is improbable. They've survived. They were never supposed to. They were supposed to go there and be wiped out, and they were able. What's that?
They were able to avoid that. I thought you were finished. Yeah.
Sorry, they were able to avoid that by doing a preemptive attack on the during the 6-Day War, when everyone was surrounding them and they understood, if we don't do this, they will actually destroy us, and they were still supposed to lose the war, and they didn't. This is not the first attack that they've done on Iran. This is not the second attack. This is not the third attack. This is not the fifth attack. There has been not even this year. Okay, so it's not that crazy of an attack. This is just the most extreme, because if you actually look at reports, they're able to have nuclear weapons, and they're basically admitting to it. So when are they supposed to not do this?
So a few things that I find a lot of people make this the exact same mistake. This mistake happened because they are just unfamiliar with the history. Zionism began as a totally secular movement. When I say totally secular movement, even by the end, where Zionism became more and more prevalent or recognized in the Jewish community, they were still 95, out of all of the leaders and out of all of the organizations, 95% were totally secular. Zev Jabotinsky was an anti-theist. David Ben-Gurion was an Ashkenazi, a non-religious person. The Avodah, were totally and utterly secular, mostly communist, socialist.
Right?
Yeah. Everyone, Shamir, Yitzhak Rabin. Yeah. Sorry, what thing, David? What did you say about David?
Where the British mandates had their offices, the King David Hotel.
What about it?
I don't understand.
I was trying to read that. No, I'm saying they instituted a bomb at the hotel.
Okay. Yeah.
Just give you another example.
Of what? Sorry, I wasn't just what I wanted to say.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying that all of them were secular. And Zionism is secular, was a secular movement. And in some sense still is. Right now, Israel is secular church.
Really exploring that, and creating not only, their family are about building things, right?
I've been called them all.
What are you? You line up.
Hang on, she will tell us what she is. I have very limited time. I want Chris and Courtney to talk. By the way, it's my birthday, so it's my birthday. So
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!
Oh, thanks. My birthday wish is that no one yells and screams in the last 10 minutes.
No, I'm very excited to see Courtney.
I know, and I want you to go in. Hold on! No, I just shut the room down because I have to save it for the actual podcast. Steph will start her room. But okay, anyways, what I just want to say to set this up is, first of all, Courtney, before anything else, since you're a cycle for the Trinity, is Jesus Christ, the Son of God, died for your sins, rose from the dead, you've asked to be born again and receive eternal life.
Yes.
Would you say you've done that? Great. Okay, so almost.
So yeah, I wanted to.
Our God.
Well, maybe I do and maybe I don't. I just want to clarify whether Iron Man is God.
A God. Yeah.
Andrew must be God because nobody could have this much time on their hands.
Who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
Well, I guess I'm JJ here.
Sounds like, when that question is posed, it's like I've got like a silly stance or something. Right? Like it's not silly to think that Hercules was a god, right? Considered a god. And Iron Man is not considered a god. It's not controversial, right? It's not silly.
Well, considered by whom?
Just generally. Like, if you think that Iron Man is a god, and you think that Hercules is not a god, you'd be in the vast minority there.
Do you think the analog to Hercules, though, is Jesus? Because, the stories are very similar.
Actually, I do want to hear from this guy. John, are you a Freemason?
No, I'm not a Freemason, but I have read many Freemason books.
Oh, all right.
They'll never tell you any of the cool shit anyway. So boring.
I don't need to tell me that.
The stuff in the books is pretty cool, I gotta say.
Do you remember that guy, JJ?
Who?
The guy that claimed to be a Freemason?
He'll tell you the cool shit. Are you kidding? He'll host a room, right? And then he'll have an audiobook just play in the background.
Oh my god, I'm live streaming an audiobook! Oh my gosh!
Something. Like no one will join the list.
No one listens, I'm all by myself listening to an audiobook, live streaming. Then I put it on X and I re-content it, repost it.
His YouTube channel is audiobooks playing in the background while he does yoga or brushes his teeth or some shit.
Okay, so I get it.
I mean, you guys come here and have the dumbest conversations and waste all your time. I mean, you're saying that's what I'm doing. I think that's what you're doing.
I'll be the judge of what a waste is for me.
No, I will go into his room and listen. That's why I'm saying this. It's because it is cool shit in there. If you really wanted it, you could get it.
I think I might remember who you're thinking of about the one guy. There've been a few Freemasons in and out.
Well, what is Freemasonry to you?
It's a fraternity.
It's not just a course about personal development like all these other, self-actualization courses.
That's not an unfair characterization.
Yeah, so what do you think the Bible is? What do you think the New Testament and Old Testament is? It's information to make you intelligent, so hopefully you live a great life.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully you improve yourself and improve the world. That's why I don't understand why you guys do these rooms all day, every day. And why Andrew doesn't change his PTR. He's frozen. He's stuck in time. Andrew, wake up. Are you still in there? It's Friday night. Don't you have a party to go to?
It's Friday morning.
I'm saying it will be Friday night. I mean, if you spend all day long on Clown House, policing debates and conversations, it's a waste of time. This app is a waste of your time. Your life has to be burning down all around you if you spend all your time here listening to these horrendously stupid conversations.
So why do you do it?
Because I record it and re-platform it on YouTube.
Okay, but why do you do it?
John, what you
Because I need you to do it. I'm just thanking you in a weird way and criticizing you at the same time.
So you waste all your time, record
I waste all my time listening to you waste your time, so I can waste the people's time on YouTube. It's one big circle jerk, and without you, there could be no jerking.
At any rate.
You know what's funny, Alvito? I didn't point it out at the time because it was too chaotic with being drunk in the room, but I was talking to Mason about that psychophysical harmony, and it's like, you know how it's like you put your hand on a hot stove and you like pull your hand away? He said I jerk my hand off. I was like, I didn't say anything, but I was laughing internally.
Mason says some funny stuff. Unintentionally.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Mason will probably be alright as he becomes a little more mature, you know? Like, he does fun shit. Like, I watched him pick up so much shit in a very short amount of time. Like, he's not a dummy, you know?
No, he's definitely really smart.
John, what do you think JJ should be doing rather than being online a lot?
Oh, there's 100 things you could do other than being here listening or speaking.
100. It's a pretty...
All right. I think the question was not what could I be doing. It was what should I be doing. Do you see the difference?
Yeah, I mean, I live a pretty non-complicated life. I mean,
question that you didn't answer, please.
Yeah, I'm going to answer your question. I mean, it's a question of consistency. I mean, go to the gym, lift some weights, do some yoga, breathe, go swimming, go to the beach, read a book, watch a movie, write an essay, use Grok, create social media. Create. If you love Jesus and God so much, I encourage you to just create. That would be my best answer for you, is create. I hope you like it.
Well, I sit here and do a lot of creating, to be honest.
Really? Tell us what you're creating, other than running your mouth all the time.
You have no idea who I am, do you?
I don't know who you are, huh? Do you know who I am? Vanity of vanities?
Yeah, I mean, do I? I mean, I'm barely ever in here.
Yeah, I know. I don't really know you that well, but I mean, there are people on here who apparently have absolutely nothing happening in their lives because they are here 24/7, 7 days a week, listening or talking.
That would be what's happening. Well, that would be what's happening in their lives. Online communication. Are you just making some comment how you don't value that?
I mean, I'm often multitasking and doing other shit while I'm on here.
That's what a lot of people say. But I don't know. I mean, most people, their brains are so fully engaged in this, it's impossible to actually do what you claim you're doing with any real focus. So I don't believe you, Sully.
I have a feeling.
Putting hair dye in my daughter's hair.
Oh, snap.
I really know that hard to use in the background most of the time, you know?
Okay, let me demonstrate to you exactly what I mean. I'm going to hit the leave quietly button now and go do something with my life. Have a great day, everybody. Maybe one day you'll find out where God is at.
Fish Melly.
That was my roast. That was my roast of that group.
So I'll say a final thought because we're...
Okay, wait.
They're permitted to have tattoos.
It's
not haram to for sure. It's not haram.
No, okay, guys, be respectful. Come on, guys. According to them, they have tattoos. They're allowed to have tattoos.
No, just for the record, I was laughing at the question. I was laughing at the question.
There's also funny stuff about Sunnism, so let's not go there.
I was laughing at the question. I was laughing at her asking.
She can handle my shit.
No, I can handle her, but I'm just saying, just like the Salafis think that God has like two hands.
Okay, hold on. Well, let's not go there. I'm just gonna say that Shias don't care about how Sunni countries run their Sunni countries and say how, oh look, this is Sayyid Hassan or even Khamenei really talk about Muhammad bin Sulaiman. No, because they don't care. They already know what Jahideen these people are. And at the end of the day, we can't look at Khamenei and be like, this guy's bad because he's helping Palestine for his own help. No, we can't say that. Like, you're not gonna go help a poor person to look good. Are you gonna go record a poor person? No, but he's getting recorded. It's not him recording the person getting help. You gotta understand that Khamenei is a really good person when it comes to helping his ummah. He doesn't care if they're Sunni, Shia, and he even says this. He even talks about Aisha, and he says if anybody insults her from my madhab, if you follow my madhabs, and you follow me, you follow my aqidah, you're definitely not allowed to insult them. That's how you know.
Where is the retaliation? His own country is under fire now. When are they gonna fucking retaliate? That's what I want to know.
His country, yeah, of course, brother. You can't. You gotta give everything time. You see what happened? How many missiles they sent during the last year, from October until it ended? Did you see how much missiles they sent? They spent over
They did
$1 billion.
nothing.
What do you mean they did nothing?
You're telling me now. Wait, hold on. Wait, you're telling me now.
From Tel Aviv and all this stuff.
Listen. If Iran sends what it sent after October 7, that would be a pussy move, man. They need to fucking send something real. I'm sorry, man.
You understand who's against Iran right now?
Or you're saying
America and Israel. What is wrong?
Okay, so they're not. So you're answering me and saying they're not gonna do anything because
the Muslim countries that signed the Israeli peace treaty fucked us. That's why.
I'm not with the other countries. But if I was Iran, I'd just fuck shit up and
you can't. You know why? It's gonna be the reason why America's gonna be able to go to Iran and do the same thing they did to Saddam.
Yes, let's start World War III. Khalas, what's left?
Yeah,
it's there, all these Muslims and all these religious people and all these people that believe in the afterlife. This is now, like this is when you act.
We don't especially coming out of the world's gonna end. We don't end the world. Even if we want to set off nuclear powers right now, Allah's gonna end the world. That's what's gonna happen.
I didn't say end the world.
End the world.
I said you should be willing to die.
Allah's gonna end the world? When is Allah gonna end the world? I gotta go to the dry cleaner. I gotta go to my favorite restaurant before the world ends because Allah snaps his fingers.
Iran's gonna rule the world.
Allah's gonna end the world. I gotta get to the dry cleaner.
He's going to rule the world. I'm joking. But, he's a good guy. It's just the American government like to, brainwash you guys, and I guess they're good at it. Stupid.
Whether he's good or bad is irrelevant right now. I could love the guy and I'll still want him to fucking retaliate to protect his own country. I'm just focused on this point.
So if he sends off a bunch of missiles and he starts attacking the hometowns of Israel, what do you think they're gonna do?
They're gonna retaliate.
How?
Who?
Do you think they're just gonna send missiles? Maybe they're gonna come clear out all of Iran.
I mean, listen, when it comes to some stuff, I do understand where you're coming from and what you're saying. But I don't care. I don't think they care about us Palestinians and Lebanese. And let's talk about let's talk about Saudi Arabia as well. I agree with you.
They give the fatwas. They love Palestine.
Fuck us. Forget about Palestinians.
Let's talk about
for Iran's sake.
Wait, hold on. Let's talk about. Can I fucking finish my fucking sentence before I fucking flip out? What I'm saying is, like, if we think about also Saudi Arabia, I mean, don't let me get started with them. I hate them more than I hate Israel, to be honest. I fucking hate Saudis, and I hate Saudi Arabia more than I hate Israel, honestly, because Israelis and Jews, yeah, they are our enemies, but Saudis that are supposed to be with us are literally against us and bombing our fellow Yemenis. We are crying about getting bombed and genocided by the Jews. So why are we sitting there and supporting Saudi Arabia that are bombing Yemen? What the fuck? Make it make sense.
Exactly.
And the same Sunni Muslims that are crying about Bashar al-Assad being disgusting and filthy. You are the same people who support Saddam Hussein. So don't fucking talk shit and be hypocrite, okay?
Perfect. That's the energy I need. We can't say the crew that love.
You're also influenced and brainwashed by the other country too.
I'm the Quran on that. You think I used to like these guys? You think
No, I'm talking about you're brainwashed by. Look at your picture.
You think I used to shit talk these guys right here in this picture? I used to shit talk.
We don't want that influence in the Levant as well.
I know. This is you gotta understand why.
You guys are so stupid. If you let only.
They kicked me.
Everyone. Anyways. Yeah, Steph was not just talking, but
I just don't.
I thought I made some like wonderful cut.
S1 once it goes to the Senate. So right now, since it's still in committee in the Senate, I think it's still called HR1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. If anybody has,
you have to judge someone favorably, and literally what that means is that before you make a action or think in your head even to be angry at somebody for anything, and that includes your kids, your wife, your business partner, it takes effect if you're in a business transaction. You have to think, what's the worst possible thing that might happen to them that I'm not considering, and therefore I should be mad at them, and they're really not the blame. You have to give them the benefit of the doubt every time. That's the formal thing that you're commanded to do. And the second thing I want to tell you is that the most famous rabbi in the time of the Mishnah, who was murdered for being Jewish by the Romans, Rabbi Akiva, his famous saying was that that to love your fellow person like yourself, that's the sum embodiment of the whole physical and so I just want you to know that, because those two principles we I can't say personally that I'm perfect at them, but they are certainly ones that are sourced in Judaism very, very deeply. And again, I'm not saying the government's perfect. We talked earlier about that as well. And I think it's not here anymore. Israeli, but there's two examples I was going to give, which is that people call men or people that were born in Jerusalem, they call them sabra. I'm actually a sabra. It's a cactus plant. They call them that because they're prickly on the outside and sweet on the inside. The other thing is that if you've ever been to Israel, I consider it a great personal accomplishment if I get out of the airport without completely losing my shit and looking up at something. And finally, the other example I was going to give you is that there's another phrase that says, Kol Yisrael Rosh Hashanah Shalom. And it's a joke, basically to mean that everybody or every taxi driver thinks that they're a prime minister. Everyone thinks they're commander-in-chief. And so, you have 100 Israelis, you have 110 opinions, as they also say. So, it is definitely not a hey, we're just going to do whatever you say type of place. And everyone's got an opinion, and, that's the good and the bad, right? Everyone's got an Uncle Jack, right? But if you want to respond, you certainly can. But I think we're actually
do you know anybody that's ever had prostate cancer?
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder if the surgery is, really all that it's cracked up to be, or this type of treatment is all that it's cracked up to be, and people shouldn't just die naturally as opposed to taking the prostate procedure. So, with regards to this conflict, maybe surgeries and metastasis and cancers, these are terrible analogies for what's really happening, which is it's political. To me, this is like spear chuckers throwing spears at each other, and eventually there will be a resolution. But if you think there's going to be a regime change, I don't know what the real numbers are and what kind of resistance there is, or the will to resist. because maybe the people there aren't, the type of people that want to resist in a bloody, violent struggle. So maybe this is really just decapitation of intelligence, and it's not a regime change operation, and it's more of just, let's destroy the biggest threat, which is the nuclear threat, take out as much intelligence as we can, and then have a reset and a renegotiate. I mean, maybe this is just one of those things where people are being too dramatic about it.
Metastasizing. When you talk about metastasizing, really what they're talking about is that their, cousins, family, or the Jordanian kingdom of Hazmat, the cousins, that they're gonna not be dictators anymore. That's what we're saying. We're saying that democracy will spread, and that's what happened in Egypt, right, with the Arab Spring.
You think democracy can spread amongst Islamists? I mean, how do you know you're not naive?
No, I mean, look, democracy.
How do you know you're not naive?
I'm with you. I understand. I don't have a better solution right now for anything. But in the meantime, like you said, take out the nukes. Let's figure it out, just like Syria. But at least they don't have to deal with Iraq anymore.
Look at Iraq, look at Syria, look at Libya. None of these places.
None of this happened? Sure.
Hold on, let me finish here.
Yep.
None of these places are better off. Even though I never liked these regimes, I didn't like Gaddafi, didn't like Bashar al-Assad, didn't like Saddam Hussein. All these places are worse off. I don't know if Iran will be better off, if this regime falls, because like John was talking about, these guys don't really want democracy. They don't really want, they don't embrace this type of, culture, I guess, that we have. They don't want it. I don't really see Iran becoming a better place after they fall. I'm just saying, I don't ever see them going back to the Shah, to the 70s, I don't ever see it. I just don't. And the Bible kind of alludes to it, like, they're probably not going to fall. They're going to attack Israel in some sort of capacity. I don't think they're ever going to be democratic, dude. That's not going to happen.
I honestly don't care. Meaning, like, it doesn't matter. They're not my problem. They're their problem, and they're the rest of the Arab world's problem.
Well, it's going to be possibly a problem.
It's probably to govern the whole region. That's what we get accused of.
The idea that there's a liberation for Iran and the China, I just don't agree with that. I think that's naive. I think just to think that this is purely military and political ambition. I don't think that this is an attempt at freeing civil liberties. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's really naive to.
What's the ambition then? Like, what's the objective?
Well, it's quite clear. Apart from Russia and China. Apart from Russia and China, who's like legitimate superpowers, this will be considered the only appropriate threat to tackle at this current moment in time. With enough justification and framing, it would be considered a just war from the Western lens. So I think this would be an appropriate, adequate time to attack them. That's what it is. I don't think that.
You're saying for the U.S. to be in control of the area? Or you saying for Israel to take control right now?
Like, not control. I don't think control. I think destabilization. I don't think control is necessary. Once they lose control, control. For what purpose? As long as they lose control, you're in control.
So we're destabilizing a territory. That's a good thing, right?
But what's the problem? I think money. So I think this is the problem. I think ultimately the two sides are having a war via proxy, right? And both sides
we're fighting directly.
Well, a war via, now they're fighting directly, but for a long time it's been a war via proxy, and a lot of the proxies have been questionable, shady organizations, and that goes for both sides. We have to be honest.
They're not paying the bill, right? The Saudis, they're done. They're still paying the bill.
Israel doesn't have a proxy.
Yes, they do.
Now, what is Israel's proxy?
Netanyahu is. He came out the other day and said he's essentially created a proxy within Gaza. He's funding an organization that is I don't want to say the name terrorists, but I mean they are terrorists.
I thought we were talking about Iran.
What do you call it?
So Netanyahu funded people. Wait. Netanyahu funded a group to distribute aid, not a proxy army. Right. The heavy don't stole it.
No. Right. But who are those people that he's employed?
Gaza. But let's go to Iran. We're talking about when did Iran? Hang on. When did Israel fight Iran by proxy? When did Iran? No, not. When did Iran fight? When did Israel fight Iran by proxy? Never. Fight directly. Okay.
No, I mean, I think Israel is not fighting all its battles, and anyone that fights with them would be considered a proxy, right?
Israel is not fighting all its battles?
I mean, okay, I'll ask you a question, and it'll help me understand if they are
I'm
fighting
trying to understand what you're saying. Wait, no, I don't want you to.
Clarify.
You made a statement. I'm going to ask you. You made a statement. Right. Israel has a proxy? What is Israel's proxy in the war with Iran?
I'll explain. One question will explain to me whether they have...
Not one question. What is Israel's proxy? No, not... I don't want a question. What is Israel's proxy?
That's the problem.
Yeah, no, it's not the problem. It's the
We always seem to get here with you.
Could we maybe hear from a new speaker instead of Aziz? Madhu has been asking to speak.
Yeah, let's go ahead. You think about it. You think about it, Aziz. It's okay. You're going to get over it.
I haven't been able to finish what I'm saying once.
Okay, thank you, Aziz. Thank you. Do you have any last points? Do you have any last points on bullshit?
Do you want to know how desperate Iran?
Nobody wants to hear it.
How desperate Iran is? Now the Ayatollah, the leader of Iran, called Hamas to help them. Hamas, he called them to help them. That's how desperate they are.
You know what? It's becoming an echo chamber.
Echo chamber.
It's becoming an echo chamber.
With who? No one left.
Aziz, you are the echo chamber. I hate to break it to you.
Yeah.
I'm the only person with a conflicting opinion.
Okay, what is your opinion, Aziz? Let's hear your conflicting opinion.
If I could, formulate a coherent response, that'd be great. So, like I said, there seems to be a generalization being made, and this is a generalization. Correct me 1 second, please. I use words like seems to be just to account for the fact that some people in the room may disagree, so this is just my interpretation, right? So I'll be very careful with how I say this, right? So there seems to be an understanding that Iran is the great threat, right? And liberation is the only approach, right? We have to liberate these people. 85% of the people disagree with the state. And I mentioned it before. I go back to the great liberations of America, right? Especially in the modern era, there's been pushback, and I look at it may even be justified.
The Great Liberations? You said there were no liberations just 10 minutes ago.
Oh, you're just gonna...
Is this like a poem or something? Why don't you just make a...
Hello. The queen herself is here.
You get like 2 more. Okay, everybody quiet for 1 second. Aziz, okay, you landed now. Yeah.
Do you know what? Guys,
if you interrupt Aziz,
Dave spoke for 10 minutes.
If you interrupt you're under a misimpression.
You're interrupting.
This is you're under, I'm moderating now. You're under the misimpression that this is about liberating the Iranian people.
Well, can I make my point, Norm?
You're going to have to wait. This is to remove the terror threat.
Anyways, it's an echo chamber.
War is to eliminate the terror threat.
You let Dave speak.
So, Khamenei is going to
Basically what's gonna happen is we're gonna...
Oh, yeah? Literally just like the guy you talked last night.
He's gonna bet you guys liver. And he's gonna shove it in your assholes. Are you an expert? How will
we let Dave talk
he
about
doesn't have legs. No, he doesn't have my profile pictures.
We let Dave talk about the Crusades for 10 minutes, right? And God forbid I make a coherent point.
Aziz, I tell you what is your
Some
problem.
guy's talking about fucking 4,000 years ago.
Aziz, I will tell you what is your problem, Aziz. Your problem is this is Clubhouse and you talk too long. Just get to the point. This is not poem here, okay, Aziz? Where is it?
Certainly, I have a question for you.
Can I speak? No. Yeah, ask me. How do I feel? Ask me how do I feel.
I just wanted to ask you. I was looking at Iranian.
Wait, she asked me a question. What?
I was looking at Iranian.
I love you, baby.
Yeah. And I was translating it to English just to see like their reaction, and a lot of them have been insisting that the revenge is going to be extreme and they're going to make Israel regret it. What do you think? Do you think it's just propaganda, or it's like true? Like is Iran's gonna strike back really harshly? Do they have the capabilities of doing so?
They've been threatening the world since they came in 1979, Iran. They've been saying this consistently since 1979.
So you think it's just performative?
No, they'll do their best. We know what they're going to do. We've anticipated it. We're prepared.
What are they going to do?
Yeah, no, ask me.
Will they be able to target the Israeli nuclear sort of holdings or anything?
I imagine that they'll try. We're prepared for them.
Are you guys like I genuinely, I'm asking out of genuine curiosity. Do you think that Israel is a little bit worried that Iran might have more capabilities than we thought, and they might actually like do something really bad to Israel?
Really? So what's going to happen to Iran? You don't think America is going to respond to that? They're going to respond. I mean, I think,
we're prepared for them. What's your next question?
Damn, be confident.
No, I
Shall I speak? No mockery, no rudeness. Go ahead. Is that two? Okay, go ahead.
As per the capture itself is not right because Iran, the word destroy is a better word when it comes to war. Israel is destroying the infrastructure, but Iran actually want to kill Israel. That is the point. They're never going to destroy. Yeah, destroyed. Yeah. But what actually Iranians want is not destroying any infrastructure of Israel. But they want to kill Israel.
That passed. They missed that meeting. That conference is over. President Trump made it clear. They missed the meeting. They didn't show up. We're moving on. They got destroyed. There you had good commanders.
Commanders
are dead.
This is a nuclear war. You guys are nuking them. I have lost 35 family members in the last year and a half. You can tell me what
I'm sorry for your loss. Unless they're terrorists. Then I'm sorry for your loss.
Why call it terrorist, bro?
What is of them refueling like over Syria and Iraq? Like they're not. There was over 100 planes that went into Iranian airspace. Like, I don't think they're doing it.
Prior, Mossad had drones already there. Look, this was obviously planned. They flew over. They took care of all of the Saudi Arabian airspace drones. You don't just do that on a 10-second call. Can you imagine even a couple of years ago a concept that we would have permission to fly over Saudi airspace? I remember some of the older bombings. They used to have to fly in circles to do 4 refuelings, going around different countries and things like that. But no, we just said, okay, MBS, we're going to take care of Iraq for you. You're welcome.
It was more than just that. There's reports that the Mossad had infiltrated inside of Iran with vehicles that were disguising the drones in the vehicles, and then they launched an attack within the country from these vehicles, actually. It's a way more sophisticated attack than people even realize.
I can't find a link, but I have a clip of it. It's incredible. It's like a night gospel clip of them loading it.
Yeah, people misunderestimate Israel. They think that, we're struggling with Hamas. Hamas are shitting on Hamas. This is nothing. We wipe our ass with Hamas. Don't fuck with Israel. That's all I can say. All these retards on this app coming in here crying every day. Look at them now. They're super quiet. They have nothing to say.
Oh yeah, they'll kick you out if you try to go in their rooms. I mean,
I'll let them kick me out. I'll open my own fucking room and have everybody come to my room. I don't give a shit.
Nobody in this.
no, I mean just the pro-Hamas, the pro-God, all these people.
Because they don't want to hear the truth. That's why.
Yeah.
They want to maintain their echo chamber. I mean, otherwise, they go into a death spiral.
I mean, look at the planning, okay? You guys never read about the planning, how Israel infiltrated the peace accords in '92. Norm, have you ever heard about this? That they were meeting in Geneva when they were doing all the negotiating for the first round with Rabin. And Israel had years before predicted the conference room and bumped it. It's crazy.
But it's unbelievable.
And the other one too.
I thought it was predicted, bro. I mean, they have so many hookups, man, with them. There's so many people in a pro-Israel.
In Switzerland, right? And then the other one was, did you see the details of, or here, I saw like a 5-minute piece, details of when they got Sinwar's brother a couple weeks ago at the compound deep inside Iran. Essentially, the brother always stayed in the same bedroom at this government center complex. They had planted this bomb under the bed 2 years beforehand, and at the last minute, it looked like he was going to stay in a different room, and then he didn't because there was like something wrong with the toilet or something stupid, and then he ended up staying in the right room, and they got him, and the Iranians are like, holy fuck, how did we do this? And it gave the Iranian leadership more of a terror scare of, well, if they're doing this, what else is it? Stuff like that.
This is a mortality shocker. Now they absolutely have a shiver running down their backs. They know that, they got caught off guard. This is a shocking moment for them, and they're going to adjust accordingly.
Well, there's lots of people that work for Israel, too, on the inside. There's lots of Mossad agents who are Iranian nationals. I mean, there's lots of people who do not like the Iranian regime.
That's what we were saying, right? Like, meaning that it's only if the Iranian nationals now stand up and request.
If you can go to Iran military on X, and they have this huge tunnel with about 50 trucks lined up with these rockets, and they write "in it for the long run." It's like, okay, you got to come out of this tunnel. How the hell do you think you're going to come out of this tunnel and deploy these rockets without getting obliterated? They're so stupid.
It worked so good for Hamas, they got their little victory October 7th, and everyone were parading, and and then they're probably rethinking themselves the last fucking. They're sitting in these dark-ass tunnels. They can't even leave. They can't go anywhere because they're literally like holes now. They can't come out or else they're dead. So what a way to exist.
They posted a photo of a meme of a Jew face disguised as Satan, and then it writes, "Fight them until mischief ends and obedience remains for God, the noble Quran." I mean, these people, their strategy is not going to work.
They're begging their own people to be human shields for them.
Yeah.
I mean, at what point do you surrender so that your own people surrender?
This is the same playbook. I mean, there's nothing new under the sun, and they've essentially been rendered neutered, and they're a paper tiger. And now what they're going to do is the same exact strategy: is use the human shield strategy.
Yeah, but that it's the golden bear quote, which is that we can forgive them for killing our children. One says children, and another soldiers. So we can forgive them for killing our children. We can't forgive them for making us kill theirs.
That's the worst quote ever. You made us kill your kids. You made us do it, Dad.
Well, yeah, Jack, they put guns into their kids' hands and give them rockets.
Yeah, you guys will bomb like a whole apartment building and talk about you made us do it.
Great, I'm great. We'll keep bombing them too.
Wait.
I saw a lot of pictures of it.
Hang on, Jack, in order. Going in order. We bomb an apartment building if it's a military target, Jack. Come on. We don't bomb it for nothing.
Yeah, but Norm, question, how many military targets are in this apartment building? And how many innocent stepped in on.
All of them. Let me answer.
The answer is you don't know.
No, you're incorrect, sir. You're incorrect. So let me give you an answer. You don't need to answer for me, falsely and lying. So this is called proportionality. It's a law of war. Proportionality, by the way, is at the discretion of the responder, in this case Israel. So it's actually a calculation. And if we bomb a building, we have to run it up the legal chain of command, the idea of legal command. So that if we're ever called to account for it, we can tell them what the target was, and if it was worth the potential loss of civilian life, which we try to minimize. That satisfying?
At this point in time,
That doesn't really satisfy because we don't trust you to minimize, you know?
Well, we don't trust you either. That's why we have a war.
The Israelis, I mean, you know.
I know that.
It has to be proportional. They've earned the proportionality of it based on their recurrence of doing it over and over and over.
Iran said 3 hours ago they're going to detonate a nuclear bomb today.
What's that?
They actually do.
3 hours ago on X, they said they're going to detonate a nuclear weapon today. 3 hours ago.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
But they're fighting for their existence. This means they want to die existence, so
this means that
they're going to go all out if they have to.
Here's the thing, though, man, is that you look at
This is a fight of existential. Like, this is the fight for existence.
Act like Israel went in there with a nuclear bomb.
Look what happened in North Korea when they got their nuclear bomb. Basically, the world understood that they can't just go in there. It's a humanitarian crisis, but also once they get the bomb, I mean, the negotiations change. They have more leverage, and it's just the truth. These regimes know, like, that's honestly, that's where Gaddafi went wrong. You know, like, they know if they can get the bomb, basically, it's much harder to go in there. You know, and so that's why Iran wants this thing. They wanna make sure they have,
They have no bomb. Don't you guys understand what happened last night? Does anybody understand the extensive damage that happened to their reactors last night? Does anybody understand that? You think they really have a bomb?
I don't know, man.
We don't know what they really
have.
They might. No one really knows.
We don't know. We don't know.
We do know.
This whole fucking.
We do know.
No, we don't. How do you know?
Yes, we do. Have you not been reading the news? Have you not been going and looking
Dude, I
at the
don't read
reports?
the mainstream fucking news
I
because
mean, I didn't say go read the mainstream news, did I?
Well, they just told me to read the news.
Didn't I say mainstream news?
What do you mean by the news? What do you mean? Just read the headlines.
I mean the reports coming
Just read the headlines.
from Israeli sources, Dr.
Doesn't mean shit, bro. Okay? We don't know what the fuck Iran has. We don't know. They can speculate. We don't know. How many years has Iran tried? How many years has Iran tried? Has Iran been enriching uranium? How many years have we been arguing about this bullshit? Since 2016 at least, bro.
And it's not happening anymore.
It doesn't matter.
Bullshit.
Bullshit? Were you sleeping last night? I don't know.
Were you sleeping when the North Koreans got their nuclear bombs?
Why are we comparing North Korea to Iran?
Because Iran and North Korea are buddies. Do you understand? They're buddies. So you don't fucking know what Iran has.
Compare them to? That makes absolutely no
I think
sense.
that, I think that since they share technology with each other, I think it would be stupid to laugh and say, we know Iran doesn't have the bombs, we know what Iran has. You don't know fucking shit, bro. Okay.
On the whole regime.
Unfollow me then, motherfucker. Go ahead.
Because you're a retard.
Okay, I muted the room just so we can go one at a time. Try not to personal attacks. Let's talk about the issues. Ariel created an amazing room. We had little rules. One goes, then the other. You can have a little back and forth if you want, but try not to call names. Go ahead. Whoever was going last, take it upon yourself. Give a position, and then we'll have a response.
So all I'm saying is here to make clearly is that we do not know exactly what Iran has. We can speculate, they can speculate, but we know they have been pursuing a nuclear bomb for a long time. They know, we know, they're not fucking stupid in the fact that if they get this nuclear bomb, they have leverage. So you can speculate all you want, you can listen to what the news is.
And what are you doing, retard? You're speculating also. You're also speculating.
You don't need to call me names, and you don't need to overtalk me.
You're literally doing the same thing that you're saying.
If you are losing the argument, you don't need to call me fucking names, man. All right? That means you're losing it. You don't need.
Okay, you want to try to do it without. Guys, let's just try to do it.
Just tell Harry to shut up, bro.
No, I'm not going. Let's just talk about it one at a time with no personal attack, please. Go ahead.
So I did not personally attack anybody. It's this dude Harry who has to call me a retard, has to keep on and won't stop over talking to me. Okay, you can laugh all you want, whatever you want.
You keep ranting on about something that has no logical sense at all.
Listen, no logical sense. What the fuck are you doing? You're speculating. You don't know logics, obviously.
I'm not speculating at all.
Okay, this is not
working. You a fucking adult.
Okay, this is not working. You have Evie, Harry, you want to get it out of the system first, and then the other guy will go? But don't make it personal.
Don't move me down again. If you ever move me down again, I'm gonna kick you out of all of our fucking rooms. I swear to God.
I never put you. Who is putting you down?
You want to stay on stage?
Me? Harry, wait. Harry, I didn't.
You move me down, you keep this fucking boy piece of shit up over me. That's
Harry.
Oh no.
Harry, I didn't move you down.
I moved you down, and I brought you right back up, Kingston. Then I brought you right back up.
Is the hate?
But we're not going to do the screen.
He's gone.
Okay, that's fine. If you want to come back, you can. Doc, I want to respond to your point after you're done, and
Sure.
we can go from there.
Yeah, I'll make it fast. All I'm saying is that we don't know what these countries have for capability, okay? We don't fucking know. And I am pro-Israel. I am pro-America. I do not like Iran, okay? But we need to be realistic in the fact that we don't fucking know what they have. And it would be the smartest thing for them to get a nuclear weapon. We know that when countries get nuclear weapons, the circumstances change, the leverage changes. You can't just fucking go in there and invade them, attack them, stuff. When they have the nuclear bomb, the whole dynamic shifts. And so I think that we don't know yet. You know, in some capacity, they probably do have some nuclear weapons. I've always believed that they were going to get nuclear weapons. This whole nuclear Iran deal, I knew it was them stalling. It was the liberals saying, this is so the Iranians don't get a nuclear bomb. No, wrong. This is so they can get a nuclear bomb, okay? They've been trying to for years, and I think in some capacity they might. Remember, North Korea for years had a nuclear bomb, but it wasn't, able to be put on a ballistic missile. Now they have been able to put it on a ballistic missile. Same thing with Iran. They very well might have the capability. They might have the nuclear bomb, but maybe not the ability to put it on, a warhead. A ballistic missile. And that's why they're talking about today, 3 hours ago, how they're going to detonate a nuclear bomb. They can detonate it, sure, but to have a delivery vehicle to bring it there and blow somebody up is a lot harder, and it takes a little bit longer. So that's all I'm saying, all right? And this motherfucker, sorry, Harry doesn't know. He can speculate with the mainstream news all he wants, but he doesn't know.
Okay. Doc, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That was as best you could. None of us are cured of just wasting time on cooking. We're here to have good conversations, not raise your blood pressure and stupid shit.
Right.
Too bad that he got upset, but I want to tell you why I think somewhat elevated is sort of like the inference that could be read from the comment. The inference that I think I initially felt myself as well, and to be read from the comment, is that if they don't have it, that therefore Israel somewhat not justified in doing what they did. And what I'll say to you is this, in terms of just the logical argument. I'll say the following, which is that I'll concede to you about 20 different points. I'll say, sure, they don't have a nuclear bomb? Okay, no problem. They don't have a nuclear bomb. They don't have enriched uranium? Okay, they don't have enriched uranium. If they don't have any designs for, again, I will go all the way down that they can't even make a chemistry volcano in their kitchen. I don't care. I can tell you that they won't stop until they destroy Israel.
Damn, I fucking knew it. He was playing football too, but I think he took hockey more serious, so that's why he became like a professional hockey player. Yeah, the Swedes are good at hockey.
What's good, Jerry?
What's poppin', son?
These are the Swedish.
Hey, what, you not talking about sports, yeah? That's That's my main passion.
우리가 Marcus Clover, Nicholas
Yeah.
Jan.
I still see it.
Yeah.
Feel like an able-bodied man needs help.
No.
But, I mean, no. But look at Dr. Dre's ex-wife, how much she's getting, $300,000 a month, or look at Dwayne Wade's ex-wife.
Rabbeinu Shalom! I am doing yoga naked in the sun on the beaches of Maui. Rabbeinu Shalom!
What up, boy? That's what we're not gonna do.
That's why I was
These single black mothers is out here damn doing they shit they self, not asking for no damn help.
That's not true, BT.
So you just
That's absolutely
like,
not
you
true.
know any black people?
So you saying white women ain't baby mamas?
So what I'm saying is,
Take care of their kids with no help. I don't
Let's
know
have
what
one mic because it's hard to hear. It's hard to hear if everybody's
This
speaking.
is not the 80s.
No, I think what it is that he's speaking harsh on black, because this is a black conversation, right? So y'all got upset because he's speaking when he speaks about the black community. So you wanted to compare him being white to you being black. So this is why these things happen in these conversations when there's people that's not our race speaking about our problems. But that's what just happened. And not to say you can't. But no, not to say that you cannot. But what I'm saying is that's why he had pushback to make it seem like, yes, it is white people that have welfare. But you also have to think about some.
this is wild. I'm like,
Talk that the earth is flat. Are you able to tell?
But, yeah. When did you go to sleep, Fatima?
I fell asleep in a room. I woke up.
and see the flatness of the earth.
People can't claim to be fiscally responsible.
5 years from now, we're gonna push it now. And so everyone's saying Iran's a paper tiger, or Israel is gonna fall, or all this shit. We're about to find out, I think, in the next month or so, because it's either gonna be a mutual destruction, or it's gonna be something less. Like, I feel like this might be also part of the negotiation tactics, and maybe Israel isn't actually aiming to completely destroy their uranium enrichment program completely, but
Completely, they took it all out completely already.
like, see, this is the thing, is like all these reports of like, oh, we hit this base, we hit that base, we accomplished this and that. Are you trusting that this is all they have and that you know exactly what they're made of? I just say, like, you shouldn't underestimate that. I'm not like a Iran fanboy by any means, but I'm realistic.
No, Natanz was destroyed.
Never underestimate them.
They knew that the first strike has to be the biggest strike. It's like going in to do cancer surgery. You take out as much as you can in the first procedure.
Based on some Iranian media, like internal media that I looked into, they're claiming that the strike in, I don't remember the name, but there was a nuclear facility that they struck. Apparently it only sustained superficial damages, but I don't know if Iran is just downplaying it. But I thought that was interesting.
I mean, Iran has never been honest about anything when it comes to any of this, ever. I mean, even the last attack a couple months ago, they lied about all the damage that they caused to Israel. That it turned out none of those actually landed between the U.S. and the British and the forces.
We hit the bases. There was an Israeli base.
Like you're watching the same movie and you forgot the ending. You know.
See, you're delusional. You think this is going to be mutually assured destruction. You think Israel's going to fall. You could be further from the truth. You just said that.
No, he said it was think it was a possibility.
They said it's a possibility, dude. Relax.
It's a projection.
John, chill, bro. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Projection means.
It is a projection because he's projecting it on behalf of the Palestinians.
You don't know like take it on Iran, bro.
We're gonna find out what Iran is made of. Like you have any doubts, you have any like unknowns in this situation, you don't know what Iran wants, you don't know what Iran plans, you don't know what it's made of, you don't know what its goal, you have like questions about it.
Yeah, go to their X account. They keep prophesizing the death of the Zionists. It's insane.
I have wait.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Do you have any doubts about Iran's regime?
So I've always actually doubted Iran's capabilities, their intentions, and their goals, right? Like I never overestimate on them. I don't believe half the shit they say in terms of their rhetoric or propaganda.
So when they say they want to destroy Israel, they want to attack Israel, they want to kill the Jews, you don't believe them, right?
I believe they want to use Israel as a tool and their proxy groups as a tool to create leverage against the West. And do they want the destruction of a state that has nuclear weapons like Israel? I don't think even them, because I think they're kind of rational, believe that they will accomplish that. And, without destroying their own country.
So you think like this throwing like hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel is a rational thing, right?
No. So I think it's rational to create deterrence if someone attacks you or to respond to that. Of course, everyone understands this. That if you're gonna get attacked and your sovereignty is violated, you should respond unless you're actually really weak. But all I'm saying to the Israelis who seem to think they know everything, which they might, is not to underestimate them, because only knows what they have in these other tunnels and what other missiles. I mean, the drones that they shot was nothing. This is their first little show of force, but they have some powerful weapons. I wouldn't put it past them.
Why would they use this little force on Israel if they want to destroy Israel?
Well, they're
I'm not really sure.
This is the thing. I don't think they want to destroy Israel. I think they want to attack Israel. And you don't really start a war or a battle by using your strongest weapons first in this case, because, of course, they want to tire out and use up as many of the Israelis' Iron Dome ammo as possible. They want to make them start spending more money and using whatever armaments they have. But when they start shooting their ballistic missiles, and who knows what else they have? That's kind of the.
But they already did. They shot everything they had. Do you think they had something else?
I don't believe that, bro. You gotta hold off. I would hold off. I would hold off on your judgment on that, man. It's literally still developing. You got to be pragmatic about this. You can't just say, "Oh, the news said this," and yep, they got everything. Like, you really got to honestly be honest with yourself. And this is still developing, literally still happening as we speak. And you got to be really smart about this, man. Don't make your judgment so fast.
I'm not making any judgments. I'm just trying to.
Well, you just said that they got everything. The news said it.
I'm bro. If Iran
question for you, Bells.
If Iran had the ability, Jack, wait a second. If Iran had the ability, like a special set of weapons, like, I don't know, thousands of rockets they could launch at the time, an actual nuclear warhead, or whatever, right? If they had this ability, do you think they would use it, or do you think they would keep it to, like to the doomsday, or like for another year, they would still negotiate? Do you think they would use it?
It hasn't been 24 hours, Bells. It hasn't been 24 hours. That's what we're telling you. If you think they've used everything they've got with it in the last, 12 hours, I believe you're sorely mistaken. I don't even think the Israelis believe that. The ones who
I'm not saying about the attack right now. I'm saying if they had it, like, already, before this attack, the last time they attacked, don't you think they would use it? Or you think
about nuclear weapons, or what? I'm just
anything that would, like, create massive destruction in Israel.
Oh, yeah, they definitely have weapons.
Right?
They have weapons that can cause massive destruction, but are they going to use them now? Are they going to play, like, they have to play a little bit strategically. Like, I guarantee you're going to see a lot stronger attack than the 100 drones that they sent last night. You're gonna see that within the next 2 weeks. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so
yeah, attacking right now. Attacking right now when Israel's got planes in the air would be a total failure. Like that, you know.
But let's suppose this happens. Okay, let's suppose Jack is right, and they have something like in their back pocket, and they're just gonna use this massive destructive force against Israel. Is that a strategic move? Is that something that's gonna like move them ahead in their goals, or do you think that's gonna just cause Israel to just like bomb them continuously until
we'll see? Because if you guys are cornering Iran,
what do you think would be the reaction?
If you guys corner the leadership of Iran into a corner and they feel like they're fighting for their existence, God only knows what can happen. That's all I'm saying. I really don't know when or how they'll use whatever potential weapons they have. I just know for sure if the Israelis are saying this is going to be 2 weeks long or so, you'll start to see.
It's going to be 2 weeks.
No, I saw that. That was reported.
They have people in the shelters. They're telling them to stick close to the shelters. Don't be too far away from them. This could be a prolonged thing. Like, dude, I'm being honest here. Like, you know, I mean,
I'm in Israel. I know. Of course, I know.
So right. So then don't let them tell you that Iran's capabilities have been completely wiped out, bro. You got to be realistic with yourself.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying if they had a weapon of mass destruction, why would they not use it? Because I mean, supposedly Jack does not believe them, right? Because they're probably lying all the time when they say they want to destroy Israel, they want to kill all the Jews. They use the proxies to do that, but they're supposedly lying. They're still holding back on their promises. But for some reason,
it's lying.
To believe them. Is it a bad thing that Israel is to believe them?
Bells, real quick. Israel, even Israel, doesn't admit they have nuclear weapons, and I'm not saying Iran has them. But you would have to be a stupid country. Even the United States, we're in R&D all the time with weapons. We're not announcing our 7th generation fighter or any of these things. Israel has weapons no one knows about. Iran, we can assume, probably has something similar, not a nuclear bomb maybe, and not maybe even something to carry that payload, but definitely something stronger than we might think. Us lay people, right? The people in intelligence in Israel, intelligence in Iran.
I assume. Can I say something just to add to this real quickly? Remember, North Korea had a nuclear bomb for 3 years or so before they could get it small enough to be put on the end of a ballistic missile. So that's probably what we're facing here. I mean, America knows they have the bomb. They just don't have it small enough to be able to put on the end of a ballistic missile. That's all what I'm thinking. They're not going to announce it.
Jack, when I was in high school and going like these summer trips to Israel, they would take us like, and also
Hi, Matt.
And go visit Naval Base, Air Force Base, and have like,
Matt.
The kids, and like, we're seeing like right on top on that way, and you're seeing like F-16.
Did you see Iran said they're going to detonate a nuclear bomb today? 3 hours ago, they said within hours they're going to detonate make a nuclear explosion. I wonder where they're going to detonate it. Some Iranian desert, some Iranian rooftop, some Iranian mountain. Where is it? Can they do it?
International, like military.
How big will it be? How many tons of TNT will it become? Will it really be real? Is it even genuine communication?
Yeah, they do that every time. It's funny as hell.
They're like, well, according to this, we have, and I cover companies, and I would meet with companies and see the exact thing. And it always struck me, you'd say, well, what, you would never do this, but if you said to a CFO in between earnings, oh, well, what your earnings going to be this quarter? How do earnings look this month? Oh, well, the average of the 15 analysts that cover our company is 22. And again, as opposed to, telling you inaccurate information. But it's kind of funny. I mean, and of course they're not going to say this is what we have. Nobody's business other than their commanders.
It is kind of a little hypocritical, and I understand because Iran is an enemy state to the West, but
Iran has this, it's like what I said earlier about the whole thing. Iran has, in my opinion, well-earned the place in the sandbox they are in. Meaning they have no credibility. They've acted with incredible aggression and terror and threats, and I think that's probably the best way to put it. They've been very clear. They stood up and like you said, Ahmadinejad, I can never pronounce it, went to the UN. He said we're going to destroy them. We take them seriously. We take them at their word. That's what TV said.
Wait, they said they would destroy Israel at the UN?
Oh, of course, at the UN. A million times.
When did that happen? Like in a General Assembly speech or something, or what?
And yes, they've said that many, many times. It's not a questionable thesis.
But have the Israelis threatened to destroy the regime or Iran too, or not?
No.
You sure?
Yeah. They threaten them if they don't stop it.
Not until yesterday.
Okay. Because I don't know. I feel like over the last maybe decade and a half, we've heard Netanyahu talk about how they're 2 weeks away from 90% enrichment and all this stuff, and so.
Well, there was a point. I don't have it fully grasped, but there was a point that there was a big jump. But we also don't know what they do when, and they have moles. We know that for sure. Like with the whole similar thing weeks ago. But it doesn't matter. Again, like I was arguing with Doctor earlier. To me, it doesn't matter. It's like they don't deserve. They haven't had the good behavior to deserve the. Like in this room we were in earlier. At this point, like my God, like 12 hours ago, people were arguing of. Well, they say it's for energy purposes, it's like, well, you don't have any.
I'm not Slavic.
What are you then? Gypsy?
Chas v'shalom.
He's a Jew. Okay, but are Jews not Slavic people? Some of them.
The Romanians are a Latin people, trust me.
Yeah, they are. They're not Slavic.
They were Romans once, thus the name Romanian.
Oh my God, John, Kitover. By the way, we took over this Torah room. Is it the Torah room? Yeah.
Yeah, it started as a Torah room.
Okay, but Michael, you should join our room soon, and then you should also control with us. How about that?
We'll see about that. It's not bli neder.
Well, we shouldn't take over this room. I feel bad now. Let's open our own room. Yeah. Because
this country that we're all told is the most psychopathic has never launched one of these, and it's because these leaders know they want to stay in power, they want to remain alive, and they want their whatever country shithole they built to keep going. And I think it's more just to deter.
Is your point that because the world police hasn't addressed
Are you enjoying this, Matt? Am I giving you the content you're looking for? Harry Balzac!
I'm saying that those places already accomplished what Iran is trying to accomplish. And those.
Okay, and they're not going to see. I guess I would argue back to fine. If South Korea doesn't want it, okay.
It's not just South Korea, though, brother. It's not just.
Get your shofar ready, Harry. I know. Did you see Iran said they're going to make a nuclear detonation 3 hours ago? They said within hours they're going to blow off a nuclear bomb.
And no country, like none of these leaders, because you think.
On X, they said it on their X account. Yeah, you saw that shit? I didn't even look to see what the comments said.
Me too, but I know one thing about him is he wants to remain in power.
What if they actually have, though, like a prototype or something that they received from, like, the Russians, or they bought it at some black marketplace or something? So they're, like, able to do a... Or what if it's a PSYOP? You know, like, our own PSYOP, or their PSYOP? That's the thing about war. It's like... It just gets so crazy.
Just like that, same thing with the North Koreans, which North Korea can attack Japan, China, all these other neighboring countries.
You think Israel can intercept it in outer space?
It's more of a deterrence thing. It's just to say that we have this
You know,
weapon here.
I don't think they can put it on a rocket. I don't think they can put it on a rocket and send it. What I'm saying is they might have something in like a truck or something. And they'll take it out to like a desert and be like, cool, check this out. Boom!
The Americans have one, the Russians need one too. It's just that same thing, and to me,
But the problem with detonating a nuclear weapon in their own country is, that area will become uninhabitable.
If none of these places had nuclear weapons, but is it an existential threat
Yeah.
to Israel if Iran gets one? I don't really think
Fucking
so. I
Mossad
haven't really been sold
is so
on that.
slick.
I think so. I believe so. I believe that the people that have a nuke, I think them stating that they want to wipe Israel off the face of the map and the differences in religion. Yeah, I think.
I haven't seen those videos.
I think what Israel's doing is completely
If you have an X account, post the link. Or post the YouTube links.
Well, listen, I know, but that's the thing is a lot of these countries haven't been saying that they're going to wipe other countries off the face of the earth. Like, that's the thing is Iran has a clear goal.
Do you think Iran would actually use a nuclear weapon on Israel? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, I do, because if you look, they have their own belief of the end of the world scenario too. And
you have to understand real quick, Doctor. Not only in Israel is there Jerusalem.
Doge Republican is my account.
6 million Palestinians there too. This would not be supported by anyone, and you would also create. Obviously, your country would be destroyed right away too. The nuclear.
Doge Republican is my.
The nuclear waste and the pollution from the nukes in the air would fuck up so many countries around it. Like, realistically, when you think about actually using a nuclear weapon, you realize how unrealistic this kind of thing is. I just really don't see it ever happening.
I know.
Unless the world is ending type of scenario.
It's all because everybody's looking through the hashtags to see if they can find some clip or something.
It doesn't appear so, because again, they're using their military forces and their proxies to try and destroy Israel. They're using Hamas and Houthis, and they're actually openly declaring that they're doing it in order to remove Israel from the map. Even North Korea is not saying that about South Korea. Even those the guys as crazy as North Koreans are not saying that.
They have said that.
They're not saying that.
They have said that.
In my eyes, Iran is the craziest of them. It's even crazier than North Korea.
North Korea has threatened to wipe
Good
the
Lord.
United States off the
6'1".
South Korea.
Holy shit.
Like, North Korea has used all these threats and more, and Iran, as much as I dislike their government and the things they do in my own country and the proxies they use in their strategy, part of their propaganda that I don't believe is, we're gonna liberate Jerusalem tomorrow, we're gonna destroy Israel and all this shit. To me, I know very, very clear that this is bullshit propaganda.
You don't live in Israel, and you don't actually see those rockets falling in your head.
I think not living in Israel is why I see it more clearly.
That's the difference.
Well, I just think you're a little more jaded living in Israel. You're living under in America, growing up for me, North Korea, oh my god, North Korea is gonna send nukes tomorrow. Like, this was always something that was...
Really? You grew up like that in America?
I never felt that way.
You never felt that way? The threats of, even with...
What do? Just read Epoch Times?
North Korea was never any type of threat compared to Iran to Israel, dude.
North Korea actually has nuclear weapons, and they actually have threatened to wipe out the United States. You should respond, unless you're actually really weak. But all I'm saying to the Israelis who seem to think they know everything.
Let's fill this out.
But I have to, pay attention to some other stuff too. Anybody wanna, I think I don't know if you want to be more active. If people can behave, I'm happy to just make it fully top part.
Yeah,
Everybody.
Oh, I was gonna make a comment on this topic. I mentioned it in the comments, but I would just flip the script and I would say I don't trust Israel with nukes either. So if you believe that Iran having nukes is an existential threat, which I do agree, yeah, I don't think that Israel having access to nukes is going to make the world safe either. And they have shown themselves to be recently, especially, Israel have shown themselves to be increasingly reckless, war hungry, and impulsive. So
I'm sorry, they're not war hungry. They're civilians. They're They're tired of you stopping
I'm not
to live.
talking about Gaza.
What are you talking about?
I was referring to like Syria.
Syria wasn't Israel.
Huh?
I mean, you're saying
Yeah,
that
Syria was invaded by Israel.
Yeah, and even Iran, for example, like this was against the official advice.
You see what Syria left behind, the torture rooms in every city, with what they saw, how much they stole.
Do with what Israel.
Is that Israel didn't invade.
Are you defending the Assads?
No.
Listen, after Assad fell.
I don't understand.
After Assad fell, Israel immediately invaded Syria and stole some land, a mountain or some shit like that. They said was for their defensive positions, and started inciting issues with the Druze. And but it looks like that thing is gonna quell, although Israel is still in Syria and still in Lebanon and still in Gaza and still fighting the Houthis and now Iran. It seems like they're opening up.
The Houthis have been actively attacking them. Hold on. I mean, I'm not going through truths. I'm not going to. I mean, you guys can talk about your you want, but it's fine. They're more hungry. Let me tell you right now. My daughter lives in Israel. You know, she lives right on the beach. I was born in Israel. There's no Israeli that's more hungry. That is like sitting there like Rambo. They, you know, have mandatory service. They upend their lives. They beat their children.
It's not that everyday Israelis are
They serve for years and years and years and years, even after their active service. Where again, they have to go for like a couple months a year, depending on which branch they're in, things like that. It's just not the culture.
We're not saying it's the Israeli, average day Israeli. We're talking about the leadership. Like this current government, Ariel, you said you're Israeli, I'm sure you know is not like the most, I don't know how to say this, they're more of an extreme government. And although I believe they're rational and pragmatic, they are dealing with certain things that maybe they didn't need to deal with right now, or maybe they felt like they needed to, but for the region, of course, the whole region takes it as a hostile, unpredictable.
It's got 120 seats in Parliament, and it has 120 seats in Parliament, right? Like in the U.S. with 100 members of the Senate. Not one time in their entire existence has there been an election where one party has won a majority. So unfortunately,
we're not saying that though. We're not saying.
So unfortunately, the Parliament is only created by cobbling together different disparate interests. That's because not one time has the electorate elected one party as a majority. So it's just a fact of the circumstance.
Your national security advisor has been convicted of supporting terrorism. Like your I'm just saying. This is, you understand. Like I'm not here to do the whole. All the Israelis are bad people and they all want to go destroy the whole region. No, I'm talking about the people specifically in the war cabinet, the people who are in the leadership today. They are a little bit more prone to be war hungry. And some people say, oh, it's Netanyahu trying to keep his political career alive or his legacy and all these things. Or it could be actually a genuine threat. But of course, most people in the region don't trust this current leadership to act predictably irrational.
Agree to disagree. I don't think that anyone in the government wants to see Israeli.
I'm not really sure when he said, Jack says most people in the region, I mean governments in the region, like Egypt, like Turkey, like Saudi Arabia, right? Like Lebanon, even Lebanon that said Hezbollah should not participate in those attacks. So Lebanon is even on the Israeli side. So which countries are not are considered also enemies of Israel, consider that Israel is warmonger, that the ones.
I mean, you can take a look at all the statements by foreign ministers in the region, from Saudi Arabia to even UAE, which is Israel's ally, partner, I guess people would say in some cases, condemned the strikes. A lot of Israel's allies in the region, or even people that have normalized with Israel, those countries have issued statements condemning this attack as they see it as a major escalation that could bring the whole region into destabilization or possibly war. And they're right. do you think by the end of these 2 weeks that dictator will fall?
Maybe not there, but maybe somewhere else. Who knows? That's what I'm saying. Is that, I'm not saying specifically Saudi Arabia, but maybe yes, this is finally what they'll do. You never know. I mean, that's what happened. That's what happened in, with the Arab Spring.
I think
petrified of that. Even if you're petrified of another Arab Spring,
it's a different situation, but the things that will happen in Iraq, Syria, and all over the region really, it makes it a lot more unpredictable, and none of the leaderships in these countries want an unpredictable, destabilized state. They want to know what's going to happen the next day, and this war that Israel's just started is it's causing tension, and it's going to be, hopefully it's not going to end bad.
Israel didn't just start the war. The war has been going on.
I agree with everything you said. No problem. I can agree with that.
You agree that Israel started the war?
No, with the previous person, before you jumped in. I can agree that, they should be stabilizing and taking care of the business. Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, it does need to do more.
Saudi Arabia could have taken care of it themselves for the last 20 years, but they turned a blind eye.
Well, Saudi Arabia was doing it diplomatically.
No, my point is that they could have taken care of it internally over decades, centuries. But this isn't,
they
neglected it.
Listen, the Saudi Arabians, which is a rival to Iran in the region,
Example,
they're number one rival.
I'm just giving you an example. I mean, my point is that it came to this. That Israel didn't have a choice. It came to this. It didn't have to, but it did.
Okay, so they didn't have a choice, but they didn't have to, so they did.
No, meaning, let me go on there. I just misquoted my words. They currently do not have a choice, but it didn't have to come to be played like this. Meaning, it could have been a different scenario where
if the IRGC was not insane.
Yeah, right. If for example, the Saudi family over the last 20 years had exerted their influence over, the Iranian government.
Right. At this point, they had no choice, but there were other paths that could have been envisioned in a saner world.
My friend, I feel like you're being a little bit of a foot soldier for the Israeli government when you say they had no choice. Let's be honest, dude. There's always...
I'm not being a foot soldier for the Israeli government. I just am pro-Israel. I mean, I could say you're being a foot soldier for Hamas.
Yeah, this is an audio app. This isn't like a marching, foot hiking app or something.
I don't mean I have specific intelligence that have to be today. I don't mean that it is any different doing it today than it would have been doing it 3 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago. I don't mean that it would have been doing it any differently today or 2 years from now. There are some aspects having to do with Israeli elections, not doing it right on top of a U.S. election, and probably, coming to the path, different things like they would probably want to be seen as, doing something that then puts a candidate for president, a commissioner, whatever. So I don't need to be precise. I didn't say, no, that's not my point. My point is that it's unfortunate that Israel, again, they no desire to be the policeman of the region. Just want to live by themselves. Not even by themselves.
They don't have a desire to be the policeman. Wait, I disagree with that.
I mean, we're not out there trying to just be more mongering. They just want to not be attacked.
I'll tell you something. Tell me if you disagree. Part of Israel's strategy for their foreign policy is to make sure that the surrounding countries or the countries in the region are never as strong as them.
100% right. Because that's a stated policy from the State Department.
Can I say something?
But Ariel, one last thing I'll just say is when that's your policy, you have to be the police of the region. So that's all I'm saying.
But that's what the stated policy of the United States government.
Yeah, go ahead, my friend. Sorry.
When all your neighbors constantly say that they want to kill you and destroy you and randomly kill your civilians and completely say, if we ever get stronger than you, we're going to kill you, then the only option is, okay, I better be stronger than these people because otherwise they're going to kill me.
And also for 3,000 years, the Jewish people didn't have a place to go when from the Crusaders on, they were annihilated. And, subjected to genocide. And that ended, in 1948.
They should have called this Operation Mordecai, actually. Because, I mean, this is taking out Haman. See, Jack, what you don't understand is the Jews have had enough time to contemplate. And they took their moment in destiny for survival, and this is what it is. They destroyed the intelligence, which was trying to destroy their intelligence.
That's fair. Listen, you guys do whatever you want. I'm just, it's a bit...
You're just playing the devil's advocate. I understand.
No, none of this is disingenuous. It's not disingenuous. Whatever it is, it's not that. And also, before you say it, it's not the end of the day.
I think it's disingenuous to say that Israel will be more rational with their nuclear weapons or their strong military than Iran would, to be honest. I convinced them very similar.
What you just said is fully retarded, and I can explain why. I can easily explain. Well, I don't mean to say that you're retarded. I think you are a good guy. Your heart seems to be in the right place, but that statement is itself objectively retarded. The statement is Israel would not be more reasonable with their nuclear bomb than Iran would be. But Israel has never threatened to completely obliterate Iran with a nuclear bomb, and Israel never has completely obliterated Iran with a nuclear bomb. Iran constantly threatens. They say, as soon as we get a nuclear bomb, we're going to obliterate Israel. They've never had a nuclear bomb, so the world has never been able to see if they're going to make good on their threat. But I think that the general consensus is, if they constantly say, as soon as I get a nuclear bomb, I'm going to nuke Israel, that it would be safer to take them seriously.
Number one, the Iranians have never said as soon as we get a nuclear bomb, we're going to obliterate Israel. Number two, Israel has threatened two of their neighbors with nuclear weapons. Actually, two directly said, we will nuke you if you continue this action. And the third was saying nuclear weapons in Gaza are not off the table. We've heard Israel, and we know what Israel would do with their nuclear weapons if it ever came down to it. Just like any other country with nuclear weapons. But, yeah, Israel has...
You speak for Israel's brain? I mean, Jack, it's your opinion and perspective.
I'm about to land, but the thing with the Israelis that actually make it worse than Iran is they never let the international community come in and check up on their nuclear weapons, their sites. We have no idea, right? Where every other country in the world that has nukes, except maybe like North Korea, is obligated to do this. And Iran actually did open it when they had
The U.S. allows UN inspectors to look at our nuke facilities? What planet do you live on? You're projecting.
No, the Israelis have...
It's not projection!
The fact that they have these. And that's where it's like...
I stopped listening to you when you said that Iran has never threatened Israel with a nuclear bomb. And then I started looking at that claim. So you didn't say that?
I said Iran has never said as soon as when we get a nuclear weapon, we're going to wipe it off the map.
That's true. Nobody in Iran has ever explicitly said, if we get a nuke, we're going to wipe Israel off the map. Do you deny that Iranian leaders have said that they would like to wipe Israel off the map?
Oh, for sure they would like to.
Okay, so you just contradicted yourself. Because they haven't explicitly stated, when we get a nuke, we're going to nuke Israel, then it's okay for them to have it, even though you also just agreed they would like to wipe Israel off the map.
I feel like you're rational when you're talking about, like you're very objective and rational when you're talking about what Israel would do with a nuclear weapon, but for some reason you think the people in Iran
there's real-world examples. Israel is not nuking.
Well,
so what do you mean what Israel would do?
They've threatened 3 times to nuke their neighbors, but my friend, what I'm saying is that the Iranians, as much as we dislike their leadership and think they're terrorist scum, they are also rational and they want to stay in power. They don't want mutually assured destruction. They couldn't even, they know the consequences, the immediate consequences of ever actually launching a nuclear weapon, or even the thought of like, hey, they're about to do this. Even like I'm saying, North Korea, which has threatened to wipe out their neighbors, and the U.S. never.
Pause. Because I started listening when you said Israel has threatened. Which ones are you referring to? I just
Oh, wow, she's good. Oh, Mazel.
They threatened to nuke
Mazel, she's good. She's good.
In 1973, during the Yom Kippur War, Israel reportedly put nuclear forces on alert as a deterrent when facing setbacks against Egypt and Syria, though no public threat was issued.
Yeah, of course, not publicly, but go look at the.
Prepared their nuclear defense systems because they were at war with their neighbors who were trying to wipe them off the map. And they didn't make a public threat. They just put their nuclear systems on alert in case they had to be used because to protect the nation from obliteration, which you already admitted was the goal of the neighbors.
No, so they didn't admit that.
You said that Iran. So you don't think that Egypt and Syria want to wipe them off the map, but you think Iran does want to wipe them off the map?
No. Okay, so you gotta understand.
We told you.
But let me also do this, because they love.
Wipe them off the map. Completely 100% sure.
But they're not going to actually.
Wait. Exactly. There's a reality where they would love a reality where Israel, based on the fact that Israel is the strongest superpower in the region with nuclear weapons. Wait. With nuclear weapons, it's not about just being afraid. It's about being pragmatic and logical here.
So they
Let's
don't
be
want
honest.
to
We're going up
themselves.
against not only that, yes, the whole. Israel is a superpower of the region. They have nukes, and then their ally is the strongest country on this earth.
There's stuff. So,
nations waging war against them.
The Muslim nations
can you
are
remove
using
Republican comedy just because we're talking about something I don't want to be.
certain things from the West, whether it's part of the nuclear program or just to gain some influence in this region, a Shia influence, an Iranian influence. And the other countries wanna, in the past, before Israel had these nuclear weapons and all this stuff, they thought we can do this through conventional warfare. And now, the Arab countries have just settled on, let's just go for a two-state solution. They're not trying to wipe Israel off the map. They know that's not gonna happen.
Can I also just add quickly that, based on this logic, like, if you look at Turkey, for example, they also, the officials and like the Turkish president, they use a similar rhetoric. They will go around saying, we're going to destroy Israel, like we're going to destroy the Zionist regime. But look at them, they're still trading with Israel and they're pragmatic in their actual politics. So I think it's just rhetoric rather than like an actual like concrete policy.
So the rockets and ballistics and drones that are falling on my hand is also part of the rhetoric, right?
It's not the Jews they want to wipe out, it's the Zionists.
67, Israel assembled for the first time 2 or 3 rudimentary nuclear weapons explosives, and the Israeli military and government drove a plan to detonate the nukes in the Egyptian desert in a massive demonstration of Israeli power. It never went through with it. Operations called Shimshon was intended as a last result. As it happened, Israel destroyed the Air Force in 3 hours.
You know what?
Israel's been very clear. If you actually threaten our existence in a real way, if we feel like you're gonna fucking come in, we're gonna nuke the fuck out of you. And if you actually succeed, we'll nuke ourselves too. Fuck it.
Well, what's wrong with that, man? It's defense, and it's
I'm not saying anything's wrong with it.
No, you guys are. The mental gymnastics is amazing.
No, I'm just saying you're not affording Iran the same thing. And so that's where you're not being.
It might not be. I agree. A big part of
What do we have to afford them a fucking thing? What does the Iranian regime afford to the Iranians?
They're just struggling to understand this